It's 7:09 on Saturday, January 19th, 2013. And this is the Salim MuWakkil Show on the Talker, Chicago, 1690 WVON. To stream online, go to www.wvon.com. If you hear my voice, then you know you have reached that place where we reflect on the news of the week to try to find our place in the mix. What we want to do is provoke informative, entertaining, and useful conversation. It's important to me that we do all of that with respect, and we need you to help us out on that. We want to model a mode of respectful conversation. So I want to know if you are ready to flex the muscles in your mind, because it's time to do that. It's 7 on Saturday, so it's time for Salim, and you know what to do to join in. Just pick up the phone and give me a call at 773-591-1690. 1690. Good to be with you tonight on this second show of 2013 and on the eve of Dr. King's official day. Also on the eve of the second inauguration of the first black president of the United States, and the WVON party celebrating that second inauguration. These are complicated days for African Americans who are celebrating both events as historical milestones. In fact, some of those complications will be among our topics of discussion this evening as we contemplate the fact that President Obama's second inauguration ceremony falls on the same day officially set aside to honor Dr. King, and how that coincidence has provoked even more comparisons between King and Obama, conflating their roles even more. Although, as I say, many black people continue to conflate those roles, those missions of these two men. There seems to be, dawning a more sophisticated understanding of the differing mandate each of the two men have. Perhaps the electorate's, the black electorate's disappointment with the president's race-neutral first term has forced a new understanding on what a black president really means. Still, false comparisons persist. A lot of people are still equating the role of Obama with that of Dr. King. Now, I was recently involved in a panel discussion in which we did a little bit of deconstructing this conflation of the two men's role. Of course, you can legitimately say that President Obama is a part of King's legacy, because King's legacy was one of inclusion, of social and political inclusion of people who formerly were excluded. Precisely African Americans, those who are the descendants of enslaved Africans. That is what King was fighting. He was fighting for that constituency and for a more inclusionary regime, and I think he got that. I think that has happened and has made possible the election of the first black president. So there's no doubt that President Obama's election is a part of that legacy. But I think beyond that, the two men's comparing the two men is going up the wrong tree, is barking up the wrong tree, as they say. They have two, they operate in different lanes, really. As I often said, the president's job, his job description is to sustain, maintain, and even hopefully enhance the status of the American empire. That's his job. That's what he was hired to do, so to speak. and his blackness is really, in a lot of ways, irrelevant to that, only as it affects what that job is. And how he does that job will determine how he is regarded in history. And unfortunately, our well-being, although it's a part of that overall assessment, it is not the major assessment. Dr. King, however, had another agenda, and it had nothing to do with maintaining empire. In fact, it was to critique empire. During Dr. King's last years, in fact, he excoriated empire. He called his country the major perpetrator of violence on the planet. This empire he talked about. So it wasn't, his job was not what the president's job is. And so, I think it's very important for us to keep those differences in mind, and that the discussion, the panel discussion, was very interesting in that I think most of the participants in the discussion had that understanding, and for a long time that understanding was hard to come by in the African American community. A lot of people insisted that Obama is a king-like figure and has a certain kind of mission, and I think it is dawning slowly on many in the community that those missions are at variance often, and we need to understand that. Well, it appears that the GOP has blinked in this debt ceiling negotiations conflict. The president's highly effective news conference last week clearly placed the onus for failing to raise the debt ceiling directly on the Republicans' back. It was one of Brother Potas's most effective uses of the bully pulpit that I've seen so far. Very, very effective. He revealed the Republicans as kind of sophomoric obstructionists, who had no serious and constructive agenda whatsoever, simply acting out of a sense of frustrated pique, a sense of impotence, and so they're going to just tear down the house. It was he clearly cast them as juvenile tantrum mongerers, and that cutting characterization apparently forced them to wince. I would have winced if I was them, and so they've taken a vote to extend. They intend to take a vote to extend the debt ceiling for 3 months, a 3-month extension. And although that extension just amounts to another punt, a symbolic punt, it does disclose that their action it discloses that there's some discomfort in the ranks with Obama's depiction, that it's not wearing well. They feel some political constriction because they're looking bad. They're looking like petulant children, and that's exactly how they're acting. France has taken the lead in answering the military challenge that was posed by the takeover of northern Mali by this constellation of Islamist groups. We've been talking about that for several weeks, and how Timbuktu was desecrated. Many of the shrines and mausoleums and whatnot, of great historic value, was sacked by these cats because they considered them blasphemous, haram, and so they completely obliterated the cultural heritage of Timbuktu in many cases. There's still some remaining shrines, from what I understand, but they are in danger of being demolished as well, because these cats believe that it's a sacrilege, and so if it's sacrilegious, it has to go. Let's think if they were here and what they would think of the Nation of Islam. Man, they would, they would invade the mosques around the country and sack the Nation of Islam's mosques as being idolatrous or whatever, because it didn't accord with their Salafist doctrine. These guys are pretty ruthless, and so on the show we were wondering when the African Union, or ECOWAS, as Economic Community of West African states, if they were going to get together and form some sort of military unit to oust these usurpers, these Islamist usurpers who just took over the territory of northern Mali. Now, there is some, legitimacy for some of these groups, like the Tuaregs, who originally provoked the rebellion. They wanted it to be designated the land of Azawad, which has some legitimacy. I mean, the Tuaregs are actually indigenous to this part of Africa, indigenous as far as we can tell, and much like the Kurds in parts of the Middle East, or even the Baathists in Spain and France, southern France, they are a tribe. There are different, distinct people who want their own. They want institutions to reflect their own uniqueness, their unique ethnic identity, and they've been mounting this struggle for a long time, and so they have kind of a legitimate stake on this area. Of course, you remember now, Mali was patched together, just like many of these other African states, for the convenience of European colonialists. That's the only reason why they're contiguous states as anyway. The map makers were colonialists who had their own agenda. So Mali is not anything organic, and the northern area is very distinct from the southern area, both ethnically and geographically, topographically. So there's no inherent need or inherent justification for unifying Mali. So the Azawad region that the Tuaregs claim is legitimate discussion, but what happened is that these other groups who wanted to convert the area to an Islamic free zone, so to speak, these groups who have used Islam as a political ideology, replacing a lot of the discredited political ideologies that used to, animate these anti-colonial groups. These Islamists have come in and hijacked the Tuaregs' legitimate desire for independent land, and so now they are considering it to be, they want it under Sharia law. They want it to be an Islamist state that reflects their Salafist interpretation of the Quran. And so many people were bemoaning that fact, and what could Africans do? And now the French have come in. They've put troops on the ground. They put money. They put, they're walking the talk, so to speak, the talk that many of the Africans were doing. And they are also bringing in other groups who are coalescing around their efforts. ECOWAS has sent in a small contingent of troops, more are supposedly coming. The African Union is participating. The UN is even getting in on the act, and the U.S. is supposedly supplying logistical support, as drones and whatnot are also a part of it. And of course, all of this European activity in that part of the world is provoking a lot of concern. Is this, the recolonization of Africa under the pretext of ousting these Islamist groups? And so it is a very complicated matter. At this point, there's still a lot of support in Africa for what the French are doing, because no one else seemed to be doing anything in that way. And of course, it has provoked all kinds of other ramifications. There was a kidnapping in Algeria, which was allegedly provoked by the French's action in Mali, and a lot of hostages were taken. And then the Algerians stormed the hostage. Algerians who have been fighting an Islamist insurgency for many years have a very, very hard line position on this. They do no negotiations whatsoever. So if you happen to be in Algeria and if someone takes you hostage, you might as well, begin writing your last will and testament, because it's unlikely that you will be rescued. The Algerians come in with guns blazing, as they did in this case. And from what I understand, all of the hostages were killed. Some escaped before the grand assault, and they're in the hospital now and some other places. But many of them, I think up to 20 or more, were killed in this assault. And it's a shame. That's one of the ramifications, and they're likely to be more. But this is a serious struggle, and there are problems in Nigeria. Boko Haram, of course, they're part of this development as well. Of course, the Al-Shabaab in Somalia is also allegedly aligned with Al-Qaeda, and then there's Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, which is one of the groups here. There's a group called the Revolution for Islamic Unity and Jihad, and there's also another group, Ansar Deen, which is also a part of this group. And there are other Salafist-oriented groups that have collected in this region because they see it as a rallying point against the Crusaders, who the French are a part of. And so this is an interesting development. I want to hear what you think about it. As I say, it's complicated. Are you for it? Because the U.S. have forces there. AFRICOM has been there, and that's really been one of the reasons that they have justified their presence on the African continent. That and an attempt to counteract China's growing influence on the continent. But AFRICOM is active, and they're supposed, they're patrolling the skies. Many African observers are nervous about this stuff. It's prompted this dilemma. Which threat is worse? Again, it's a lesser of evils comparison that confronts us. It confronts the Pan-African community. Call us in. Let us know what you think. Do you think that the president's proposals for gun control will get a passing grade in Congress? Although his proposals are hardly radical, the opposition to any kind of infringement on the Second Amendment is so strong and so vicious. I mean, these cats get in the media and they sound like madmen the way they're ranting and raving. But even the president's mild proposals are likely to face some vitriolic resistance. But the president has been showing some political backbone of late. The budget negotiations and his fight over Hagel for defense secretary. Here's two examples. So he just might be ready to take them on. Plus he has the increasingly combative support of these Northeastern politicians who have organized to take on the NRA. So the president has some backup here, but despite all of that, his gun control measures really face an uphill battle. And I don't know if we talked since Alderman Sandy Jackson resigned, and about her resignation and all of the complications that have been prompted by her husband's resignation for Congress. His resignation from the second congressional seat is, though the fight to replace him has attracted all kind of people. I think 25 plus aspirants at the last count. So it looks like Chicago may be on the verge of losing the distinction of being represented by 3 black Congress members. If all of those people get in and they leave one white candidate, Debbie Halverson, who is a competent candidate, they leave her alone, it looks likely that she will be victorious. Also, there's still some fallout from Django. Dick Gregory, he was in the news recently for his rude dismissal of Spike Lee for Spike Lee's rejection of the movie. He called Spike a punk and a thug and things like that. A little bit over the top. Although I think in the context of the conversation, he wasn't quite that demeaning, but it still is a pretty intense debate here. Okay, let's go to the phones, find out what is on your mind and what you have to say about these things. Maurice, good evening, my brother. How you doing?
Hey, Salim, you got Maurice here?
Yes, sir. Maurice, how's it going?
Hey, it's going real good. First off, a little bit of a sad note. My mom made her transition.
Man, that's too bad, brother.
88 years.
88?
The last couple of years of her life, she had to deal with that Alzheimer's thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, there's nothing that can be done, man, when you start losing them brain cells.
And that's something, man. And they're working hard on some ways to mediate that.
Yes.
The brain deterioration.
A lot of R&D is going into that.
A lot. And once they get it, man, it's going to be miraculous. And whoever comes up with it, billionaire status is right behind the corner.
Absolutely. Well, I hope they make it public real quick. Because I've often heard that there's the cancer, there's been cure for cancer, but they keep it covered up because there's too much money in R&D.
Yes, indeed.
Can you believe that?
I can believe it, man. They've been. I don't know if you're aware, if you've been following this, but people are beginning to characterize Alzheimer's as diabetes type 3. Have you seen that?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, that they've they're starting to link it to insulin, a product of insulin production and whatnot, a problem of insulin production. Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, but I mean, with further research, a little more money, and brilliant minds, man, like somebody's going to come up with something sooner or later.
I think you're right.
With this stem cell, I hear that's a real good avenue towards solving a lot of
Now the research has been allowed again. They'll come up with something.
Amen. Well, God bless you, Mom. I got me a great angel in heaven. She's watching my back.
There you go, brother. That's right. You got some lobbyists up there.
I got some cloud in heaven, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I do. But look, brought a book to class, Family Properties, by a Jewish girl, Jewish sister named Beryl Satter, Satper. She grew up in North Lawndale here on the west side, moved to Skokie when the Jewish people started running after the blacks got off the trains at Union Station.
Yes.
And in Elliston. And I mean, brother, it is a must-read.
Is that right? What's the name of it again, Maurice?
Family Properties.
Okay.
Race, Real Estate, and the Exploitation of Black Urban America by Beryl Satter, Beryl Satter.
Okay.
And that's why I'm on the west side, because my daddy got off that train from Mississippi at Union Station, Saline. And I tell you, man, my uncles got quite a story, man. When the blacks started coming and the Jews started going and they didn't want to stay, they were just basically handing my uncles and dad them properties to manage for them. Man, my uncles had coal trucks, oil trucks, energy. They were into energy. But then along came Daley and the gangsters who wanted a piece of the action. Long story short, they ran them out of town, man.
Wow.
They ran them out of town. So
now you sound like you got some good stories, my brother, Maurice.
Oh, I got quite a story, man.
Are you writing these stories down? Are you talking?
I am documenting my stuff, black man.
Okay.
That's power in the word. I am documenting my stuff. Not only that, I'm doing it the oral tradition with my children, Crystal.
Oh, very good, very good.
So that they know. Because like Dr. Conrad World says all the time, if you don't know where you've been, you ain't gonna know where you're going.
No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it.
And those who fail to learn from the mistakes of history are doomed to repeat them. And that's so true, brother.
You got it.
But I mean, for anybody who wants to know what happened with the contract bias leave, I mean, our people were just They plucked us like turkeys, man. They plucked us like turkey. There's arson for profit. The housing courts were against our people. In fact, the people in housing courts own a lot of the slums.
Oh man! So
man.
it sounds like this book, man, is a gold mine of information.
And I got it right at the Chicago Public Library, free of charge.
Dig that. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes,
all right,
sir.
Maurice.
All right, Brother Salim.
Thank you, man.
And the money and the family, black man.
Thank you, brother. All right. Take care of yourself, yeah? All right. And sorry about your mother, man. Stay strong. I know you're going to do that. Brother Maurice. Okay, let's go to Kevin. Hey, Kevin. How you doing, man?
Hey, Brother Salim. How are you?
I'm well, my brother. I'm well. How are you?
You should be. If my memory serves me right. Aren't you celebrating the natal day?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, happy birthday, brother. Let me get in there now.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, man.
I'm wishing you a very, very happy birthday for selfish reasons because I want you around a long, long time.
All right. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
I want to hit my points real quick, brother.
Okay.
I guess you're right when you still say that's a fallout from Django.
Mm-hmm.
I finally saw the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was particularly looking for that part where you said that you kind of got lost when they started talking about the skull theory.
Oh, yes.
And when he said that, I got to thinking about, I guess, all of the Dr. Leakey era stuff when they started comparing skull sizes.
Yes, sir.
Cranial capacities and all that goofy
phrenology.
nonsense. Yeah.
Right. Uh-huh.
But I thought he said something that was very profound. That portion when he said, the back region of the brain that controls for docility.
That's right. Those dimples.
Right, those dimples. And he said that, blacks could tolerate a whole lot of abuses and still get up and shave his grandpappy.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of stuck with me for a while. I had thought about it, and I went, well, you and I both know, Salim, that if some of the things that occurred to us and it was done on us happened with white folk, they would not have shaved that master. They would have cut his throat right there.
Yeah, probably.
I think he was saying that too. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I think so. But I think it reminded me a lot of that is when you hear so many brothers today. Man, I wouldn't have been no slave. Shoot, It wouldn't have got me. I would. The white man would say pick cotton. I would have told him to pick his own cotton. But I mean, we were socialized in such a powerful way that a lot of that didn't even occur to people. I mean, that's how deeply this socialization goes, and it reminded me of how we often confuse socialization patterns for indigenous or for endemic biological features.
Mm-hmm. And then also,
I mean, like for example, I don't know if you look at these WNBA games, these women playing basketball. Mm-hmm. There was a time, and I personally, and I have to chide myself for my sexism. I could not have imagined women performing the athletic feats that I see them doing routinely on the basketball court because I didn't think they were capable. I didn't think they had the physical capacity to do this stuff. And so I attributed a lot of my socialized notions into their biology. You know what I'm saying? I transformed it.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel the same way, Salim, when you saw female cops?
No, well, they had assistants. Those guns made them a little. It added in their quest for equality. The gun helped a lot. But yeah, I mean, it's similar. Similar kind of thing. Mm-hmm. My point is that we classify things often erroneously according to how we're socialized, rather than the physical reality of it.
Oh, exactly. I can agree with you on that one. Other point about Django was Samuel Jackson when he talked about the choice between castration and working for the rest of your life for delinquent. Mm-hmm. And I made the connection between that and the prison industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of, I thought he was going with, in that, I saw a lot of parallels between what Tarantino was trying to say in that movie with the social structure. And I don't know, maybe that's reaching.
No. I mean, I think Tarantino intentionally put those puzzles in there. Those enigmas.
Social structure.
I mean, the whole movie was basically a semaphore, even from the beginning, man. You know, like those who are cinemaphiles, people who understand the grammar of the cinema. They saw initially when at the very beginning when the enslaved cats were walking, you know, Jamie and the rest of his boys were shuffling across the plains, and these gigantic boulders were in the background. Now it's a well-known convention of spaghetti western that these exaggerated boulders are false. You know, they're openly false. They're transparently false. And so he revealed that from the opening frames of the movie to let you know that he was goofing. Now he was a lot of this was representational. You know, don't take it literally, so to speak.
I felt some blazing saddle moments in there, and
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I mean, he let you know, that some portion this is stuff out of my head.
This is artifice,
right? He offered the comedic relief at crucial points in the movie. I got that, but then I was also concerned. I mean, just cognizant of the little puzzles he was leaving along the way, and that one where Samuel Jackson was talking about castration and work at LeQuint. That was a direct poke at the prison industrial complex, direct poke at making money on free labor. He said, you'll bust rocks for the rest of your life. So I thought that was cool. Then, real quick, brother, about the gun control thing and the NRA screaming about the president's daughters getting guards. Have they lost their minds?
Man.
I mean, can you imagine what would happen if the children of the president were not secured and someone grabbed or abducted them?
Yeah, you know,
it's a national security issue.
Yeah,
what is wrong with these people?
It's hard to understand, man. They're just saying anything these days. They don't care. They're not even trying to be plausible any longer.
No. I mean, are you kidding me? Okay, so the president lives in a White House mansion. Yeah, where's yours? You don't have one?
Exactly. Or like Jon Stewart put it. He said, yeah, oh, shoot, the president gets to veto bills and bomb other people, and he gets to, do all the things a president can do, and I can't. You know, that kind of thing.
You don't get to do that? Well, where's your plane at, Salim?
Exactly.
He's got his own plane and his own cook and chauffeur. Should you get one? Should you deserve one? My last point, brother, on your birthday was this. I guess to answer your question, you said, should King's mission and Obama's mission be conflated? And I guess you could, in the sense that one is causal and one is the effect. They planted the seeds. I mean, they plowed and toiled the soil, so to speak, for the whole civil rights movement, King and the movement. And the fruits of that labor would be in Obama.
That's right.
So we can conflate them in that sense, that one, the causal, that hard work and that sacrifice is what Obama's the result of that. And then to Maurice, he said his mom died at 88, but King would be like 85 years old today. That's something. 85, so he's been dead longer than he's been alive. Amazing. Just amazing to me.
Yes, sir. All right, well, thank you, my brother. Appreciate it, Maury. All right. Kevin, yes, sir. Take care, man.
All right, brother.
All right. Brother Kevin. Let's see, Brother Maceo. Hey, Maceo, what's up, bro?
Hey, Salim, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. First of all, I'd like to send out my prayers to Brother Maurice on the loss of his mother. And I'd like to thank Brother Omar and the other brother that for the kind words last weekend, for Brother Mansong for giving me the MO on none other than Alonzo James Kennedy Jr.'s birthday tomorrow. And if I may, after I say something on one of your subject matters, I'd like to say something about Alonzo James Kennedy Jr., if I may.
Dig that.
Okay, but first of all, I'd just like to start out, and of course, I have to, John, last week was awesome on your show, and then hi, Roxanne, Albert, and Woods. On the subject of Dr. King, you mentioned Dr. King at the onset of your show.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh, Salim, the more I read about Dr. King, the more I know that, wow, this man was phenomenal, a giant. And I'm speaking about a interview. I'm sure that you read it in Playboy magazine in 1965.
Oh, yeah. Very, very, very famous interview, as a matter of fact.
Very incisive, would you say?
Yes, indeed.
And a part of it, the interviewer asked, well, he stated to Dr. King that he was categorically against violence. And he told Dr. King that a lot of social changes have came about as a result of violence. And he said that how did Dr. King propose to bring about social change? And he mapped out a 3-point answer, and within the third point, he indicated that one thing that needs to happen is that our youth need to be trained and have jobs, that education has to occur, and he cited Harriel Act in your hometown of New York, which Dr. Clark presided over as a director for a while, but he said that Harriel Act was doing some great things. And
It was. Harriel. Yeah, it was. Very.
Is it Harriel Act?
Yeah, Harriel, they called it. Uh-huh. And Dr. Clark, who wrote Dark Ghettos, was the administrator.
But then the interview goes on to say that he, Dr. King, and the other civil rights leaders were proposing a massive economic aid program that would be funded by the federal government to improve the lot of 20 million Negroes. And he was saying that, this interviewer, that the Harriel Act thing, if that were to happen, if the government were to fund that, it would be $140 million only for New York. And he said that would ultimately, if it were nationwide, be into the billions. And Dr. King said precisely $50 billion is what he set aside. I said, what? And then, but he goes on to say that $50 billion would, over 10 years, for the Negro population of this country, and that it would bring about a dramatic decline in the dropout rates, family breakups, other social ills that our people had gone through. And he was saying that because of the 2 centuries of slavery, that it had robbed our ancestors of their wages, and that those wages, had they been paid, would have accrued in the form of wealth for their descendants.
Go ahead, Dr. King, talking reparations.
Wow. Isn't that powerful?
Yes, sir. It was powerful. Absolutely. Yes,
and this is Dr. King that, as Alderman Tillman said, that they don't want us to know about.
Yeah, that's right.
But that
well, even his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, when he talks about the check, the check that we have yet to receive, and that was basically a coded call for reparations as well.
Oh yeah, and that to me, when I read that $50 billion, I said it can't be anything but reparations.
That's exactly right, and he's so absolutely. Just imagine had that been done, man, the good it would have done so early, so cheaply. Now the cost would be a lot more, but the need is still exactly the same.
And his point was also that other groups, Appalachia, that at that time the government had funded or set aside or was about to provide them with $1 billion. And he was saying during the Marshall Plan in World War II, he said we helped to provide relief for millions of Europeans. So why not for people that are a part of this country.
I'm telling you, man, he was laying the foundation for the reparations argument, right?
Absolutely. I mean, wow. I mean, when I read that, and I would encourage your listeners, if they haven't read it, that interview is powerful.
Yes, indeed.
And just two more things, quick things on Dr. King. I also read where during at the Lorraine Motel, I understand that there were police officers at a firehouse surveilling him at that time, and then there were FBI agents surveilling him at that time. And then during James Earl Ray's assassination of Dr. King, there was no all-point bulletin, and you had both of these factions out there. That's something doesn't sound right to me.
Oh, man, a lot of people are calling for them to reopen that investigation, or at least release the information that was accumulated by the probe. They're supposed to be 30 more years before they do it. But, many questions, man. And many of Dr. King's relatives have been among the most insistent on encouraging a reopening.
But moving on from there, I just want to note that the great Muhammad Ali's birthday was this week, the 17th, and First Lady Michelle Obama's was on the 17th. But now, Alonzo James Kennedy, born January 20th, 1947 in New York. His father, Alonzo Kennedy Sr., his mother, Bertha Kennedy, the oldest of four children, educated at Linden High School in New Jersey. In 1964, after he graduated, went into the Air Force, served in the Air Force as an administrative specialist. And after he got out of the Air Force in 1969, enrolled in Rutgers University, got his BA in political science in 1973. At the same time, he was writing for the Associated Press in New Jersey, ultimately writing for the Muhammad Speaks, where he wrote until 1977 as managing editor, changed his name in 1975, came to Chicago in 1980, wrote for the U.S. Department of Housing and Development as a writer, freelance writer for the New York Times, Washington Post, 1984, senior editor of In These Times, Sun Times, Tribune, has contributed to many, many books, and a frequent guest on Chicago Tonight, Beyond the Beltway, and I saw you in some documentaries too, adjunct professor at the Art Institute and Northwestern University, and married, received numerous awards, has two children, and happy birthday to you, Mr. Salim MuWakkil, a.k.a. Deeper Than Lake Michigan.
Thank you, brother. Where'd you, man, song made that available to you?
No, he just told me that, mentioned to me that your birthday was this week.
Oh, okay.
And so I said, I'm gonna read through some research, and I'm going to, see if I can put forth some accolades for Deeper Than Lake Michigan, but even deeper than the ocean, as they would say.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
You're welcome. Have a great evening, man.
Thank you, Maceo.
But reparations, Dr. King.
Ain't that's amazing, man.
Amazing.
The brother was on it.
I'm telling you.
Yes, sir. All right.
Thank you.
Brother Maceo. Yes, Dr. King did make a very strong argument for reparations. We often forget that, and the check that he talked about, even in the so-called "I Have a Dream" speech. This man was talking serious stuff, and we have frozen him in the image of a wistful dreamer. Anita, good evening. How are you, my sister? Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam.
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well.
That's good. Salim, I thought you were from Pennsylvania.
No, I'm not. I'm from...
You're from New York?
New York, New Jersey.
Oh, my God. I was just telling somebody about people from Pennsylvania and how interesting African-American men were.
Well, there are some very interesting African-American men from Pennsylvania, especially Philadelphia.
Actually, it was this Chinese he was going to some cultural, I forget where he said he was going, some cultural art, something in Pennsylvania with African Americans to work with them. So I was just telling him yesterday, about this. I met some very interesting, men from Pennsylvania that are African American. Yeah. But I thought you were from Pennsylvania.
No. That area, though, that whole axis, Philly, New York,
right.
New Jersey, that whole thing. I'm familiar. I'm familiar with Philly. I spent a lot of time in Camden, New Jersey. And but primarily the New York metropolitan area is my stomping ground.
Oh, okay. Now, well, happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you.
And my birthday is February 7th.
Is that right? Oh, okay, Aquarius.
Yes,
as well.
I will be all 17 years old again.
Hey, go ahead, baby. Regenerate yourself.
Well, anyway, no, I will not be that age. I will be going into my mid-50s almost.
Oh.
But anyway, let's see what else I want to say. I wanted to tell you, you were really, really impressed me last week when I was telling you about the children, being disrespectful and smoking marijuana. You said they should really listen. I was really proud of you saying that, Salim. I know you take everything really serious after that. So I want to thank you for being concerned that our youth are not knuckleheads. I really, really appreciate that statement you made.
Well, we don't want knuckleheaded youth.
Well, we have a bunch of them.
We sure do,
and they need to be unknucklehead.
I don't know how we do that though. Man, I sure wish.
There's you and Mansong and Mayfield. Yeah. Mansong, I love everything that he says.
Mansong really trying. Mansong is one of the more conscientious brothers out here trying to turn them around.
Really study for the reason of enhancement is not what I want to say, but something like that. Enrichment. I can't think of the word I want to use.
Those two are good. Those two are good. Enhancement and enrichment both sound good.
Yeah, but it was something else I wanted to use. But he's very informative and just wonderful. Just reminds me of old-fashioned people learning when they didn't have television and all of this mess. It was just radio, and people would just die to get a book and find out what's going on.
Yes.
That's what he reminds me of. And I told him he really, needs to stay on the air and keep pushing his agenda. So I'm just really proud of him too. But I'm proud of you also, and I'm glad you're going to have another birthday, and I'm going to have one February 7th. So
we are keeping it going. We're sustaining.
Are you Aquarius?
I'm on the cusp. Actually, I'm a cuspian. I like to say, right on the cusp.
Okay, yeah. But I just wanted to tell you happy birthday and to let you know that I was really, really proud of you being concerned about our youth and our average adults out here that has a lot more to give than that.
Thank you.
So, all right then.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Sister Anita, let's see. We got time for we only have a minute or two, so rather than talk to someone and curtail their conversation, we'll just hold it to the other side. You guys hold on, so you get a chance to really let us know what you think. But I was really surprised to see Dick Gregory's rather angry, I guess, response to Spike Lee's criticism of Tarantino. It's easy to get impatient with Brother Spike because he seems to be very impertinent at times, and even a little bit irrational the way he just responds to certain kinds of things. But he has credibility. He has the kind of cultural credibility that would allow him, I think, gives him a little latitude on making those kinds of summary judgments. Although I really don't think it's ever a good idea for an artist not to see another artist's creation and denounce it anyway. I don't think that's respectful. And so in some ways I could see where Dick Gregory is coming from. And others have said similar things, that it's disrespectful to denounce something without seeing it. I mean, it simply doesn't accord the creator, the artist, like yourself, you're a fellow artist, it doesn't accord them the respect of at least considering their production before you make a judgment of it. It's an endorsement of bias. It's an endorsement of prejudice rather than any kind of substantial critique of the actual product. It allows people to say, "Oh, well, it's okay to be biased," without even seeing something to let your summary judgment, determine your reaction. So, I think that's the basis of Dick Gregory's agitation with Spike Lee. We'll talk about this and many other things, and we'll get to your calls right after we come back.
Chicago, this is Chef Cliff Roman, my producer,
Shauna B. of Impresario Radio. Tune in along with our downtown diva, Maisha, and our executive assistant, Ashley, every Wednesday night from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Call in as we dialogue with health and fitness experts discussing the latest in food and entertainment trends.
Stay near the kitchen Wednesday nights with Impresario
Radio. The talk of Chicago is 1690 WVON, Sherwin, Chicago.
NBC News Radio, I'm Melissa Rayberger. A 4-day siege in a Saharan gas complex ended today. NBC's Annabelle Roberts reports.
Algerian special forces launched a final assault this morning. Local media report the remaining 7 hostages being held at the plant were executed and their captors killed. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta said today the perpetrators will be hunted down.
Secretary Panetta was in London conferring for the last time with his British counterpart. Officials in Yemen say a couple of suspected U.S. drone strikes killed 8 people there. At least 2 of the dead were known al-Qaeda members. Both were Saudi Arabians. First Lady Michelle Obama and daughters Malia and Sasha are at a rock concert tonight. It is part of the inaugural celebration that's set aside for kids. Pop star Usher is heading up an A-list for hundreds of kids from military families and Washington schools. This is NBC News Radio. The mercury will take a dive tonight in the Midwest, and NBC's Lester Holt reports that cold will quickly move eastward.
Arctic air has set in on the Midwest. That region will feel it tonight with some of the lowest temperatures of the season. Cities like Chicago and Detroit could stay in the teens for days. And that system will make its way east by midweek with highs in the 20s for many cities, including here in Washington.
Holt is in Washington preparing for NBC's coverage of the inauguration of President Obama on Monday. The president and his family joined 500 volunteers at a Washington grammar school today to paint and clean. The project was part of a National Day of Service to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The King holiday will coincide this year with the presidential inauguration. Earl Weaver, the legendary Baltimore Oriole baseball manager, died today while taking part in an Orioles celebration on board a cruise ship. Weaver, who was 82, suffered a heart attack. I'm Melissa Rayberger, NBC News Radio.
And now Geico presents 30 Seconds with Maxwell the Pig.
Maxwell, you're on.
Cool. And so you just want me to read the script? You don't want me to do the we thing? Okay. Today, I'm going to talk about the new Geico mobile app and how you can manage your policy and get your ID card and customize it with your favorite Geico character. But I'm not yelling we or anything because they don't want me to, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just saying it's my thing.
Everything you love about Geico, now mobile. Download the new Geico app today.
Stay tuned for a $1 million bottle giveaway, and you'll also receive free shipping. Do you have troubled skin, acne? Well, we have great news. With Proactive, your acne can heal, and you can prevent new breakouts from happening. We're going to let 1 million people try Proactive risk-free, get 2 free gifts, and free shipping when you call right now. You heard it. This offer won't last long. Visit getproactive.com or call 1-800-614-4102. That's 1-800-614-4102.
Geico presents a thank you letter from your motorcycle.
Hey there, buddy. I just wanted to say thanks. Ever since you saved money on your motorcycle insurance with Geico, we've been riding a lot more, which means I've been able to really exercise these pipes of mine. Just listen to them. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah.
Geico could help you save on your motorcycle insurance, and that should make you and your bike very happy.
Stay tuned for a $1 million bottle giveaway, and you'll also receive free shipping. Do you have troubled skin, acne? Well, we have great news. With Proactive, your acne can heal, and you can prevent new breakouts from happening. We're going to let 1 million people try Proactive risk-free. Get 2 free gifts and free shipping when you call right now. You heard it. This offer won't last long. Visit getproactive.com or call 1-800-614-4102. That's 1-800-614-4102.
Shaquille O'Neal for Icy Hot.
If you've got pain, you need the patch.
The Icy Hot Patch. Powerful, targeted, fast-acting pain relief that stays put without the mess. Icy to dull the pain, hot to relax it away. In a variety of sizes, from back, shoulders, knees, even arthritis. So you're covered whenever and wherever you're hurt. Stop pain right at the source with Icy Hot Patches.
Pain's no match for the Icy Hot Patch.
For temporary topical pain relief, use only as directed.
Hi, I'm James H. Owens, and my wife Caroline and I, we're the proprietors of Divine Healing Herbs, located at 1621 West 87th Street. At Divine Healing Herbs, you can learn to reverse heart disease, cancer, sugar diabetes, arthritis, obesity, and high blood pressure. At Divine Healing Herbs, we can help you find natural supplements. At Divine Healing Herbs, we carry Silver Shield, which helps heal a multitude of illnesses and diseases. At Divine Healing Herbs, we now offer colonics, which is colon cleansing and detoxification. Mention WVON and you will receive a special discount on colonic services. For information, call 773-233-4372. 773-233-4372. Our website is divinehealingherbs.com. Why suffer when others are being healed? Make Divine Healing Herbs your holistic wellness center. Call 773-233-4372.
Hello, this is Perry Small, and years ago I met a remarkable Chicagoan. His name is Reverend Dr. Oscar Walden. He wants to thank the WVON family for years of support. Years ago, Walden was pulled off a Roseland bus by Chicago police officers, falsely accused of a brutal rape, and spent more than a decade in prison for a crime he did not commit. Today, Walden is an author and a musical genius. He is sharing his experience of triumph and tragedy through music, plays, and his work with his nonprofit organization, People's Courts of Final Appeals International. To learn more about his incredible story of tragedy and triumph, or to purchase his books, jazz, and gospel CDs, call 773-218-7330. That's 773-218-7330.
Hello, this is Dr. Oscar Walden Jr. Join WVON 1690 AM on January the 21st for their inaugural celebration for President Barack Obama at the Grand Ballroom. Come purchase my CDs and books and join in the celebration.
Monday, January 21st is more than Dr. King's Day. It's Inauguration Day as our nation's 44th president, Barack Obama, is sworn in for a second term. It's a cause for celebration, and in 2013, WVON is your celebration station. Join us for Chicago's premier inauguration party at the Grand Ballroom, 6351 South Cottage Grove Avenue. We'll have live entertainment, live coverage of the inaugural festivities in Washington, D.C., great food, and, of course, great friends. That's where you come in. There'll be a cash bar and plenty of parking. Tickets are $30 at the door. Join us as we celebrate the second inauguration of President Barack Obama. Monday, January 21st. The doors open at 6 p.m. That's history at the station that's celebrating turning 50. Your celebration station, WVON.
WVON's inauguration party is powered by Toyota. Let's go places.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON. You're listening to Salim MuWakkil on Chicago's legendary WVON, the talk of Chicago, 1690 AM.
10. Salim MuWakkil here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. And let's go right back to the phones. Brother Studious. Hey, Brother Studious, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm just striving for perfection in each reflection. What about you?
Oh, man. All right, brother. I'm with you. I hope you make it.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to.
All right.
and hello to the VON fam. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Last Saturday you had another super sharp show, and then it's going very well this evening as well. Although we've heard some things that are tough to take. You know, for example, I just want to give my condolences to Maurice and his mother passing on.
Yes.
And much respect to Dr. King and condolences to the King family for the work he did.
Yes, sir.
And you have an upcoming birthday, right?
I do.
Yeah, so happy upcoming birthday to you, and happy upcoming birthday to Anita. And even as much as I disagree with what the Obamas are doing, happy a past birthday to First Lady Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did you get my email?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. What did it pertain to, Brother Studious?
It was an email with the recording of Larry.
Oh no, I didn't get that, man. How when did you send it?
I sent it. I'm pretty sure it was last Sunday morning.
Oh, okay.
And then I sent it to the. I don't know if you want me to. I guess
to the AOL address.
Yeah, the AOL address.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. I have to check. I'm not as attentive to that one as I am to. I also have a Gmail.
Okay. Can you do you want to say that one over the air, or do you want me to wait and try to get it?
No. It's S MuWakkil MuWakkil at Gmail.
Oh, okay. At Gmail. Okay, I'll use that one then. But I just wanted to say that, hey, Rose was right. Larry did make that statement that she said that he made.
Yes, he called back. He called back
Right.
and acknowledged it. In fact, I called Larry one time last week and I didn't get through. So I'll call again soon if he doesn't call tonight.
Well, he had said he was 80% sure, and I just said, well, I'll go back and take a look and see if I can find it, and I was able to find it. So,
I appreciate that, man. I'll check. I'll go into the AOL. Send it to the Gmail, but I'll check AOL as well to see if I can conjure it up.
Okay, well, I got this. I put everything on there where you need to check. Just go to the 36-minute, 30-second mark, and you'll be able to after a few seconds.
So you record all of the programs, Studious?
The ones I'm able to listen to, unless I miss it for some reason. But for the most part, I try to record all of them. But the only bad thing was I had this flash drive, and I don't know, maybe I was pulling it out wrong, and the flash drive messed up, and now all the stuff I had recorded from your show, it doesn't have the names and the dates on it anymore. I still got to go through it and listen to them. But at least on this one, I was able to find it. But
okay,
that's how it goes.
Oh, all right, brother. Very good.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, that's just basically what I wanted, man.
Okay, all right, brother.
Okay, well, you take care.
You do the same, Studious. Take care of yourself, brother. All right.
Okay, stay wise.
You too. Our brother Studious Damon. Brother is very assiduous. I think he's an example of the kind of research enthusiast. Reminds me a lot of Andy and brother the late brother Steve Coakley, brother FX, brother Robert X. Brothers like that who do their own independent research and are very serious about the kind of information that they get together. They make sure that there's substance behind what they're talking about. Okay, let's see. Back to the phone, brother. Man, speaking of a substantive brother, man, Song Hotep, man. How you doing?
Hotep, back at you, my brother.
All right.
A big Furaha
Kuzaliwa. That's happy birthday in Kiswahili.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
And I want to say asante. Thank you to you and Anita for the kind words that y'all said about me.
Oh, yes, sir.
You know, my birthday was on the 9th, a couple of Wednesdays ago.
Okay, all right. Hey, happy birthday belatedly.
I was at room 43 hurting them, brother.
Oh, man. That's a good spot to be, too.
Yeah, they gave me the formal birthday dance, 20 sisters lined up. I spun them all off, you know. I just wish I had the footage for that one, you know. And Studious is doing a good thing because, you know, your shows, man, are very valuable. And actually, Cliff Kelly had mentioned years ago that, you know, the shows that we hear and participate in on WVON, actually, it should be part of a curriculum. I mean, just some awesome
got a point
information,
there,
you know.
Yes,
and I want to say, asante also, Salim, for a great monologue news analysis segment that you do at the beginning of your shows. You know, you cover, you know, some good ground in a variety of issues and things, and that takes work. And you know, I appreciate you for that, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that, man.
And condolences to our brother Maurice regarding his mother.
Yes.
Maurice, my mother died from complications of Alzheimer's back in 2003. Believe me, my brother, I've walked in your shoes. So you know that
it's really a debilitating disease, man. We got to hope that something comes up to deal with that pretty soon, man.
Yes, sir. Now, on Dorothy Tillman's show this morning, I was able to share one of my favorite quotes of Dr. King. Remember when he said, quote, "Don't just sit down and do nothing, or our people will be in the dungeons of despair for another 100 years." That's awesome, man. You know, I mean, urging us on the battlefield, because there's a consequence if we're not. And you know, he was awesome with that one.
He was, and I mean, and that issue that Maceo brought up, that Playboy interview, he was really prescient, man, with what he was talking about, and very, very online with the reparations argument.
Right. Now, something that I think Sister Dorothy said on her show was that she felt that Dr. King was the first to deal with that, but that's not true. And we appreciate Dr. King, you know, doing what he did and clarifying and putting that out there like he did. But the reparations struggle, it comes as a part of the Black Power movement. The original one before the 1960s, and then, of course, you know, in the 60s also. Black Power initiative, Malcolm X got it from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know, as evidenced by the paper. Muhammad Speaks on the back for all those years.
That's right.
You got Paul Robeson and William Patterson in the 30s and 40s. You know, so although Dr. King, you know,
and RNA as well in the early 60s.
Oh yeah, and even Bishop Henry McNeil Turner
That's
of
right.
the AME
That's right.
Church
That's
movement, you know, they were talking and raising that Sister Callie House in the early 1900s. So you know, we definitely, and of course we cannot not mention Queen Mother Moore.
That's right.
Yeah, you know, so yeah, and
I was with her in Uganda, man.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Her and I, and Minister Farrakhan as well.
Oh, that's great. You got great stories, brother.
Hey, brother, I got them.
You know, we need another book from you about
you're right.
those stories.
You,
know?
you got it. You got it coming.
Yeah, I'm still trying to piddle and paddle and fiddle and faddle with some of the stories I have. We'll see what happens, but
well, you got some great ones too, man.
Yes, sir. Now, I wanted to. Well, first of all, let me say that I am totally kind of against confusing President Obama with Dr. King. You know, Obama is a politician, and I think the points you made, I think that I would try to tweak that a little. I would say that the candidacy or Reverend Jackson president administration would be more akin to what we could call a King legacy or a civil rights movement legacy, because we know that Reverend Jackson would have been a different kind of president than what we're seeing, just because of that.
But because of that is probably why he would not be a president.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He would have to alter himself too much in order to fit into that mold, and that altering would change his mission.
Yeah. But anyway, there are forces that want to try to make this this thing together. Of course, for various reasons. But let's be clear. Dr. King went first from reform to revolution. Obama is a part of the system that needs reform and revolution.
That's right.
And so that's just a whole nother animal. And I think those artists should not put him on those posters between Malcolm and Dr. King in Rosa Parks. But y'all know my view on that.
Now there is a depiction of him in that with that kind of stature.
Yeah. And I crafted a piece, and I thought I'd given that to you at the WVON Taste of WVON. I circulated about 200 of those out there that day, and had this poster with Obama in between all three of those people, and so I did a critique, which most people I think could understand, although some people would, be emotional. But I wanted to just share with your audience, Salim, like I did on Dorothy's show, that Sister Jeanette Herrera, at the African American Women's Center up in Milwaukee, they're celebrating King again this year. They did it last year, and Cam Howard, myself, and the late Pauline T. White drove up from Chicago and to hear Dorothy Tillman keynote it. This year, and this is Monday, January 21st, doors open at 12 noon. It's free. The actual program starts at 2 p.m., 2 to 6. They got some great performing artists up there. But the keynote speaker this time around, Brother Salim, will be none other than the great Dr. Iva Carruthers.
Okay.
So she's going to keynote it, and it'd be great if we can get some Chicago folks to journey on up there, get your GPS and just put the address in, African American Women's Center. They're at 3020, that's 3020 West Vliet Street. And you spell that V as in Victor, L-I-E-T, Vliet Street up in Milwaukee. If you put that in your GPS, you should be able to get there without any problems. And it's going to be an awesome event. We owe much to Sister Jeanette Herrera and her crew up in Milwaukee for just years and years of positive action.
All right, my brother. Thank you, man, son. Appreciate it, brother.
Let's honor Dr. King, y'all. He took a bullet for us, like Malcolm and Fred Hampton Sr. and Medgar Evers and many others.
Yes, sir.
All right. Keep
Thank
on
you, brother.
pushing, my brother.
All right, brother. Yes, indeed. Milwaukee. Hey, keeping it going. Brother West. Hey, man. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Salim, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, Wes. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing blessed, man. Hey, look here, man. My condolences go out to Maurice, man, because I lost my mom. It'll be a year next month, man. I know it's rough.
It's rough, man.
But but Salim, one thing, y'all put y'all money on the Falcons, man. They're gonna do it. They're gonna get that trophy.
They look strong, man. They look although I thought that my brother was gonna get him last week, Brother Russell, but they made it.
Yes, sir. They're gonna decide time, man. But look here, Salim, man. Since you were talking about reparations, do you know I read some statistics? Each year that we was enslaved, these corporations made $30 million a year just in exports off the backs of free labor. So if you multiply 30 million times, how many years will we enslave? 500, approximately.
Well, the U.S. enslavement hasn't been that long, but other kinds of enslavement, if you add them on. But yeah, I mean, there've been attempts to. I mean, there's a brother named Richard America, man, who's done a very exhaustive accounting job of figuring out how much in currency chattel slavery was worth, and man, he comes up with an astounding figure.
Oh, it got to be in the trillions, man.
Absolutely
hey,
right.
I saw on Democracy Now. Amy had a show on about what's going over there in Mali and Timbuktu, man.
Yes.
And man, it kind of almost brought tears in my eyes, and plus made me mad because they showed they do the same thing they doing over here, giving the young cats over their guns. They just riding around shooting each other, man.
That's
and
exactly
the guy
right.
that's supposed to be Al Qaeda look like all white. He look like just typical redneck from Kentucky, with long hair and a beard, and got and the turban on his head, man. So that's all CIA, man. And plus, I heard something else with the U.S. government got something like $400 billion worth of gold that they stole from Gaddafi. You heard about that?
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
In the U.S. Treasury, man. So they just went over there and killed Gaddafi to get his gold, man.
Oh, that's one of the reasons, man. He had more gold than just about any other nation, not just in Africa, but around the world. He had a huge cache of gold. And now we're finding out how uranium figures all into this. The French, one of the reasons that the French are there so strong is that they virtually depend on uranium from Niger and Mali, northern Mali. That whole region is very, very rich in uranium. In France, as you know, France is a nuclear nation in terms of its power. It's electrical power and whatnot, and so they have a very deep relationship with uranium mining and whatnot, and that's all in Niger and in northern Mali. So they have a deep interest in economic interest there
and everything, man. Hey, Salim, I'm gonna ask you a question now. I'm gonna see if you know the answer.
Okay.
What's the difference between Dr. Martin Luther King and Reverend Al Sharpton?
What's the difference? They're two different men, man. That's an easy one.
no, okay. But look here, Dr. Martin Luther King took the message from the people to the president. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's true.
And Reverend Al Sharpton is taking the president's message to the people.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I got you. That's fair. That's a fair comparison. Yes.
And Salim, did you ever go to Vietnam?
Yeah. No, not Vietnam. No, sir.
Okay, but remember how they did the Agent Orange? What they do? They were spraying that out of plane. That was a chemtrail, man.
That's right.
And this brother that disputed me last week, he kept talking about some kind of hand-eye coordinator by term, man. But them chemtrails are real, man.
No, they're real. They're real, no doubt.
Yeah, and that's got to do something with people being so mean and shooting folks, man. They're spraying manganese and stuff, like Mr. Dick Gregory said. And matter of fact, Mr. Dick Gregory, the reason he got beef with Spike Lee is, remember that movie what Spike Lee had where She Gotta Have It?
Yeah.
When that woman was doing what she doing to herself in the beginning of the movie?
Right.
That's what the beef Mr. Dick Gregory got with Spike Lee, man.
He didn't like that.
Yeah, it's degrading our women like that, man.
Well, I know that he mentioned that in his piece on Spike that in which he called him all those names during that interview. He did mention. He said, well, how come he didn't? And he also mentioned Malcolm when he had Malcolm in a zoot suit. And how that was disrespectful to our ancestors as well.
Yes, sir.
So he got some gripes with Spike. So that might explain it, man. Yeah. Okay, man.
Yeah. Hey, please, hold on, one more question.
Okay.
Man. I'm finna open a can of worms. What do you think about these women in the military, man, running around with M16, man?
Hey, brother. Like I said a little earlier, bro. I am plagued by sexist notions. And I realized just how sexist I was really a little early when I began to see just how talented some of these basketball players are, these female basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought that was possible, man. I really didn't.
Right.
And so
Well,
I no longer have faith in my own judgment in terms of gender capacity.
Well, I think it was a bad move for women to be fighting in the military.
You
man.
think so? Why is that, Wes?
I mean, a woman don't supposed to be doing that. If a war gonna be a war, men should fight it, man. Because you got these women coming back over here.
Well, there were great female warriors, man, in many African nations, or especially in early pre-colonial Africa.
Right, but look at all the problems that these women having, man, with all this rape and stuff going on, and then
maybe if they were fighting, maybe if there were more women warriors, they'd be knocking off these rapists a lot more frequently.
Right. You're Hey, look at the weather, man. Look at it snowing in Mississippi and then snow in Chicago, man.
That's true.
That let everybody know that the whole paradigm is shift on December 21st, where it's our time, Salim. So no matter what these folks do, whatever they do, it's not going to work out right, man. And brother, I want you to have a happy birthday, man.
All right, man. Thank you, Wes.
That dude know more about you than the government, man. That guy, he said they back to Africa, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Wes. Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it. Happy birthday. And give a shout out to that brother Dwight, man. I appreciate it. Giving me a little shout out.
All right, man. Easy. Brother Wes. All right, let's go to Sarah. Hey, Sister Sarah. How are you, my dear?
Hey, greetings to you, Brother Salim. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, greetings to you and greetings to the WVON family. And I must give condolences to Maurice, who lost his mother.
Yes.
Because mothers are very, very important to us. It's coming up on the 7-year anniversary next month since my mother transitioned. So it is not a good feeling because I'm still a big baby and I still miss my mommy.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And it's been about a decade since mine has passed, and I still had that very strong feeling.
Yes, you're never going to feel it because there's been many times that, as a matter of fact, I dreamt about my mother up to today. So it's that close connection is something that you're just not going to get over it, and you're not supposed to. And speaking about getting over it, of course, as we know, we lost one of our warrior scholar that transitioned as well. The late great Dr. Tony Martin, who also joined the Ancestors.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Tony Martin was
lost. Another one of her soldiers went down at a very early age. So
a great scholar of Garvey, one of the best, as a matter of fact.
Yes, one of the best, and he also did a lot of the debunking with this connection with black people have this love affair that we have with the Jewish people, and we like to link their Holocaust with us. Like we hear the president went to the Jewish Holocaust Museum and only credited them as having the only Holocaust. That goes to show the ignorance that runs rampant when he's going to give them credit for their Holocaust while discounting the black Holocaust, which of course he's going to do because he has no enslavement in his DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be out of touch to go and make that erroneous conclusion to say that these are the only people that had a Holocaust.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's not the only one to make that mistake. I don't think. I mean, there's a lot of people who have enslavement in their DNA who still say that. They're just ill-informed, and I'm surprised that the president said the only Holocaust.
Exactly. You see, Salim, what happens is when you're control of the media and you're on the media 24/7, because there's not a day that go by that the Jewish people don't make sure that some mention is made about what happened to them in Europe. So it continuously goes into and it stays in the back of people's mind, and they also equate the word Holocaust with Jews, and they discount themselves completely out of the picture because these people, they keep their history fresh in the minds by always keep tying it into something in the media at least once a day.
Quite frequently. In fact, didn't Tony wrote a book called The Jewish Onslaught, right?
Yes, he wrote that, and he also wrote a book, Race First.
Yes, right. But The Jewish Onslaught was dealing with how they control academia in the Northeast a lot. A lot of that was dealing with that, right? Wasn't that kind of the focus, as I remember?
Yes, that was part of his focus because he of course, he was at Wellesley College up there,
right,
in the Northeast, and of course, he had a whole lot of issues with them, Mary Lefkowitz and all of that, who was one of his colleagues up there. So he went through a whole lot of stuff, and I believe that's why the brother went out of here so early because he was only 70 years young when he transitioned. So,
he was right in the thick of all that debate about Afrocentricity and all of that, right?
Yes, because he only retired in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So I was saying, good grief, only five years this man got to enjoy retirement somewhat, and then he was out of here. So we are in bad shape. And then, Salim, on this situation here with Dick Gregory and also with Jamie Foxx, because I don't even know if you read the article with Jamie Foxx, he also came out and had a lot to say about Spike Lee.
Yeah, I did read a little bit of that.
Yes, Spike Lee made some duds in his time, and I like all producers, he's going to admit that he made some bad things. But why it is that we have all these Negroes running out here, tossing each other under the bus, fighting each other in the public media when all they had to say was no comment. No comment. If somebody called up to me and asked me to say something derogatory about another individual, because Spike Lee spoke only for himself. He didn't speak for black people as a collective. He just said for himself personally. And Dick Gregory called the boy a little thug. I'm really, really shocked and surprised at Dick Gregory, and he needs to just shut up.
But you know what? If you see it in context, it sounds bad, and little thug is not something that you would call someone anyway. But he was saying it in less maliciously than kind of affectionately, if you can say that. You can say, and if you know Dick Gregory, he uses those kinds of terms.
References that he likes to put out here with a serious, with a comical twist to it.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
But in this particular case, when he came on and what he had to say, yes, I agree that Spike Lee, he kind of messed up with Malcolm X because he focused too much on Malcolm X's activity prior to him becoming so-called conscious and coming into the movement. He focused too much about that part of his life. So that much he would say that, yes, he messed up on that, and yes, some of his movies that he has made, he has done a few things out there that did not put black people in a very good light. But that being as it is, people keep saying about Spike Lee, like I tell people all the time, you can read script from any movies that are made out here. You can pull it up online and you can read it. Spike Lee having access to Hollywood, he have access to that information, and he can read movie script, TV script, and he can know what the plot is going to be all about, and he can formulate his opinion based on that without seeing it. So for people saying that, he didn't.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. So I mean, a movie, the grand product is much more than the script. They're all kind of mediating perceptions that enter into how you assess a movie. Just that's more than the script. So I really think he did an injustice to cinematic art by not seeing it and then making a judgment about it.
Well, I don't think it was cinematic art. Yes, Quentin Tarantino might have tried to do something in there by threw a comical twist onto it and tried to bring in like a bit of black history into his product by calling himself honoring black people, doing it in his satirical way. But still, I don't feel that it did anybody any justice. And Spike has his opinion, Quentin has his, and Dick Gregory. But I just feel it's us.
But did you? Dick Gregory say he saw the movie 12 times, and he's going to see it 12 more if he can.
No, but that's Dick Gregory. That goes to show that some of our elders, they are past the senility point, and they just need to sit down and shut their mouth and not say anything else. Instead of you going back and forth with each other like you are, because who is it benefiting? It's benefiting Spike Lee. You out here raising all this controversy. All you're doing is you're generating free publicity for Quentin Tarantino and his movie to have people to roll here and go and watch this movie and buy the DVDs and the Slave Dolls. Well, they went ahead and they pulled that off the market. That's all you are doing. When all you have to do is shut your doggone mouth and not say anything. Black people don't realize that, we could just shut up sometimes and just say, I don't have no comment at this time. And just keep it moving.
All right, Sarah. All right, my dear. Thank you.
You're welcome, Brother Salim.
Appreciate that. Sister Sarah is saying to Dick Gregory, hey, man, don't be so vociferous. Don't be so loquacious about Spike. It was something I was going to say about that because he did. Well, it'll come to me. Let's go to Charles. Hey, Charles, how are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing, Salim?
I'm good, man.
Yeah, I've been listening to you quite a while, Salim.
Yes, sir.
And my assessment from listening to you is that you give a lot of contradictory and confusing statements. I mean, you say something, you just do a lot of talking about white supremacy and white oppression and institutional racism and all this. and then you turn around and support the institutions of white supremacy and white oppression. In this case, it's Hollywood. Primarily this movie, Django. Now, I didn't see the movie. All I heard was they used the N-word 150 times. So that told me right there that I don't want to hear the N-word 150 times, because I know what they do to people who accept the N-word in this country and how they treat them. I mean, there's other things that I have a problem with you on, is that you talk about we don't have cultural capital. You know, I mean, do I say it with that same attitude that you just said it? I like that, man. Say it again. Cultural capital. Cultural capital. You said we don't have any.
Go ahead.
And I totally disagree with that.
All right.
And then you also come back and say in this white oppression, white supremacy system, that we need a infusion of resources in order to straighten our situation out. To me, that's a contradiction right there.
Well, now,
so the people
Charles, just hold on for 1 minute. Let's just focus on that particular section that you found contradictory. You say cultural capital. I talk about cultural capital, and then I say that we need an infusion of resources in order to fix the situation. Right. Now, what's the contradiction?
The contradiction there is that you set up this description of white supremacy, white oppression.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. I said, wait, Charles. Now, see, what I wanted you to do is talk about cultural capital, not the white institutional racism.
That's why the contradiction come in.
Okay.
So you tell us that if either you going to fight white supremacy, or you're going to fight white oppression, or you're going to fight institutional racism. Now, you don't fight them by requesting resources from them, number one. Number two, you don't fight them by supporting their institutions, such as Hollywood. Hollywood has done more to destroy the image. You notice you could go back 100 years and look at all the movies about the Hollywood has made of black people. They have trashed our image.
That's
but
true.
Yet we support that.
Okay. Let's take that. Since, man, you make it hard to focus on one particular subject. I see you have a whole menu of gripes. I see, Brother Charles. Okay. Well, let's take the Hollywood. Let's take the Hollywood thing. Okay. The first Hollywood movie was Birth of a Nation, right?
Right.
And that was basically a racist track that provoked lynching.
Right.
But there was a lot of debate and protest of that by the NAACP, which said essentially their argument was this, is that since people are looking at Hollywood movies, let's try our best to extract as much negativity as we can, although we know what white people really have in mind. Since people are going to see these movies anyway, let's critique it from our perspective.
That's where we disagree.
Huh?
That's a fair. I disagree with
but you disagree that a lot of black people go to the Charles, you're gonna have to listen, man. Charles, you're gonna have to listen if we're gonna have a serious debate about this, unless you just want to rant. If you want to rant, then you could do that. But if you really are serious about your critique, let's break it down a little bit, okay?
Yeah,
let's say, so you say so Hollywood, you disagree with that perspective. So are you disagreeing that a lot of black people go to the movies?
No, I'm not disagreeing with that.
So since a lot of black people go to the movies, don't you think we should do our best to critique movies in ways that enlighten our people who are going to these movies?
No. Where I agree is that we should identify Hollywood for what it is.
And
It is a force of white oppression on us.
And so what? And
The
so
brainwashing.
and so
we
could.
should boycott it.
So
We should boycott it. That's what we should
so
do.
Charles, I want you to think about this. Do you think us telling black people not to go to the movies will work?
Yes.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
All right.
I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
And the movies that we watched was made by, what's this guy, is this early movie maker?
Michaud.
Michaud.
Yeah.
He made movies especially for the black belt in Memphis, Tennessee, that was located on Beale Street. We had 2 theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw a white movie until I was about 11 years old when I came to Chicago.
Have you ever read a critique of Michaud's movies? The plot of the critique of most Michaud movies?
All I know is
it had black faces. It had black faces in it. That's all you knew. It had black faces in it. That was good enough for you?
that was good enough for me.
Is Clarence Thomas's black face good enough for you?
Clarence Thomas is just one man.
But I mean, he's got a black face. Is that good enough for you?
I mean, Clarence Thomas has nothing to do with this.
Wait a minute now. Okay, the reason I'm saying Clarence Thomas, and the reason I'm spending so much time with you, Charles, is because sometimes I get tired of people with these formless critiques who just have their own little opinions about their critique and have nothing to back it up. And I'm beginning to see that you don't really have much to back yours up either. I was hoping for something a little more substantial, but I don't seem to be getting that from you. You say Michaud's black faces were enough to give you substance for going to movies, right?
Yeah,
and you're thinking that telling black people not to go to the movies will work.
They told them in the Montgomery bus boycott, they told them to stop riding the bus, and they stopped riding the bus. That took over a year.
Yes, sir. All right, man. All right, Charles. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's go to let's see, Brother Jay. Hotep Jay. Hey, man. How are you, sir?
Hotep Salim. Hennessy, Cavassier, or vodka? Which one?
Oh man, you know that's one of those Hobson choices, as they say.
Yeah. Well, listen. Number one, Dick Gregory is basically in the same vein as your last caller. Sometimes we go through periods in our lives where we start to crack up and make no sense. But we come back around. So Dick in a week or two will say something of great value. And then 2 weeks later, he'll come back with another crackpot statement. The bottom line is Spike's made bad movies. Dick done had bad nights on stage. Everyone has a bad night every now and then. But
That's
like
right.
Queen Mother Sarah said, we need to just not say anything. You know what I mean? Because who's benefiting other than, unfortunately, the overseers, those that are making the movie?
Well, you could say,
and the rest of them.
You could say Reggie Hudlin. Now, Reggie Hudlin was one of the producers of Django. Reggie Hudlin's a brother.
Okay.
So you could say he benefits. You could say that
he's getting a couple of dollars.
Well, you could say you could say that black producers are benefiting from if Django is much more profitable than the idea of having black producers in these major movies may be much more palatable to a lot of people. That means more money for black people in the film industry and blah blah blah. So you can make the argument, man.
Well, I look at it like this: if Samuel's getting a little bit of money on the back end, getting a nice little percentage of that, then so be it, man. The bottom line is the movie was nothing more than a cartoon.
Yes.
Fictional thing.
I agree, man.
And the only hope that you could get out of that movie is that people would investigate and look into the real brutality of slavery. Something that for some apparent reason, Negroes really have no clear understanding of, nor will they investigate it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I always tell my daughter, when you understand history and you study history, I expect you to act and behave in a certain fashion. And one of those things is to stay away from white men. Now, if she decides to, as she gets older, to do otherwise, then, I'll deal with it at that time. But there's so many of our children out here who don't even have a real understanding of slavery. Then you talk about the Holocaust. Why isn't that African people are never mentioned in the Holocaust when there was thousands of us that were killed?
That's right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
The gays and some of the others that were killed instead of the African Americans, not the African Germans or the Africans or whoever, who were also killed during the Holocaust.
That's right.
So, if you don't understand,
and now a lot of people don't realize that the Roma, a lot of people don't realize that Roma were among the major targets. So-called gypsies. They were more targeted than the Jews were, in fact.
Right. The bottom line is, if you don't study history, then you'll just basically go along with anything. You're not going to tell me that you have a president in office that can't even bring up African slavery, the African Holocaust, and any of these things, and I'm supposed to have the utmost respect for this man. That's one of the reasons why I don't. He should be allowed to, as an American, to have freedom of speech and be able to put his people in the mix in regards to our suffrage. It's not a one-sided suffrage in this country. But I really wanted to say that the more and more that I read about Martin Luther King, the more and more it becomes apparent that Martin Luther King was one of the moral compass of this country.
That's right.
Martin Luther King, I have some issues with him, but he was what you call a bad man.
He was.
If you listen to his speeches and read his letters and really put into context the evolution of this man from when he first started to the time that he died, he has to be considered one of our strongest intellectuals that we have created. Even though we may not agree with all of his tactics, but the man basically put forward a blueprint on how this country should act and behave, which for some reason we don't follow. And the same things that he was talking about is going to be the things that's going to be the downfall of this country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how we really don't understand it. I think everyone in Congress, all of these crazy, mind-boggling white folks, Tea Partiers or whatever you want to call them, Republicans, just madmen, need to really read Martin Luther King and get an idea on how to act and behave and develop a civilization.
Yes, sir.
It's because it's getting to the point to whereas it's not like the country is getting better. If you look at the 4 years that Obama's been in office to now, the reality is because we as black people have no plan and we support and back people like Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and the rest of them who haven't put forward a plan, nor have a plan really in mind to make us a better nation and a better people, and part of this madness, we just not going nowhere. So in 4 years, when this president is out of office, we'll basically be in the same position and maybe even worse off because of these crazy Republicans. And in the process, they think that they're hurting us, but they're basically hurting their own people. And at some point in time, we as a nation are going to have to figure out that, unfortunately, we are all in this together. if we are going to survive. And let me just leave with this. This whole gun control nonsense is what it is. It's nonsense. With all of the killing that was going on in Chicago and all of the killing that's going on in the rest of this country, to have 26 white people get killed, and now you want to change and define the gun laws in this country, it shows how much of a joke you really are. Because he could have done this a long time ago in regards to the murders that are going on in his own home state of Chicago. But the man didn't even have the decency to come to Chicago and address the issue and try and create things to make it better for all citizens of Chicago. No, he did it once white folks got killed.
Yeah, I think that's I hear you. All right, thank you, man. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah, I don't. There a lot of people said that he should have come here and did that. But we talk about political calculus, and it was political calculus that's determining his attention to the gun issue right now. If it wasn't for political calculus and in the wake of Newtown, the Newtown killing, where 20 children were killed, white children, let us say. I think there was one black girl in there. If it wasn't for that, he wouldn't be addressing the gun issue right now. It's political calculus, and I think those of us who are aware of the way the politics works in this country understand that it is political calculus. And the president, the Ann Coulter. The discussion with Jay just reminded me about Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter made another statement that got a lot of attention recently. Again, focusing on the paradoxes of our racial debate in this country. She got in trouble before about talking about affirmative action and how it was designed for people who suffered, whose relatives or whose ancestors suffered from slavery. And she was absolutely right. Affirmative action was designed primarily as compensation for the insult of slavery, and not just because of diversity. It wasn't a crutch or an aid to help people who were excluded because they were too diverse. Instead, it was an attempt to compensate people whose people were enslaved. And so that got a lot of attention. But I think she was essentially right. And again, she said something that hit the nerve, but is essentially right. People talk about this country as being so rife with murder. And you look at other European countries, and they have a much lighter murder rate. This country has a serious murder rate. Ann Coulter said, well, the reason we have a high murder rate is primarily because of black people killing black people. It's fratricide. Is our murder rate causing our murder rate to be high, and that if we look at just the white murder rate, it equals a nation like Belgium, and it is on par with other European countries. And so she got a lot of flack for that. What do you think? You can talk about that when we come back. Do you think Ann Coulter has a point by focusing on the fact that it is the black murder rate that causes our statistics to skew so high, and that maybe the president would better focus on the black murder rate than the gun control issues that he is now focusing on? That is her argument, and Jay's argument kind of echoes that a little bit, just from another perspective. I want to hear what you think about that and other things when we come back.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. Keep your finger on the pulse of urban radio by tuning into WVON. the only urban talk station on iHeartRadio. Download the iHeartRadio app today. It's absolutely free.
NBC News Radio, I'm Melissa Rayberger. It's estimated that 600,000 to 800,000 people will attend President Obama's second inauguration on Monday. Security, as always, will be paramount. Here's NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams.
They're always evaluating by the hour tips and threats that continue to pour in. So it's a constant cycle that goes on until the inauguration is done.
Security will include National Guard from 25 states, hundreds of federal agents, and thousands of police from the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. If you can't make the Washington scene, NBC News will have you covered beginning Monday at 10 a.m. on TV and myriad other platforms. Check it out on NBCnews.com. President Obama says the U.S. will provide Algeria with whatever assistance that country needs to deal with the aftermath of a terrorist attack. Al-Qaeda-linked terrorists were killed today by Algerian troops, but they executed their foreign hostages before they died. This is NBC News Radio. Many more Marines and their families could be eligible for government health care for illnesses they got in North Carolina. NBC's Molly Page explains.
A federal agency has determined that the water at North Carolina's Camp Lejeune was contaminated 4 years earlier than they had thought. The federal disease agency says computer modeling shows that drinking water in the residential Hadnot Point area was unsafe for human consumption as far back as 1953. President Obama signed a law last year granting health care and screening to Marines and their dependents on base between 1957 and 1987. Health officials believe as many as 1 million people may have been exposed to tainted water.
Hall of Fame manager Earl Weaver died today of an apparent heart attack aboard a cruise ship. That, according to his agent. Weaver led the Baltimore Orioles to 5 100-win seasons. He won 1,480 games with the Orioles. Earl Weaver was 82. I'm Melissa Rayberger, NBC News Radio.
Geico presents a thank you letter from your motorcycle.
Hey there, buddy. I just wanted to say thanks. Ever since you saved money on your motorcycle insurance with Geico, we've been riding a lot more, which means I've been able to really exercise these pipes of mine. Just listen to them. Sorry about that. Brum, brum, bum, 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 bum. Oh, yeah.
Geico could help you save on your motorcycle insurance, and that should make you and your bike very happy.
Stay tuned for a $1 million bottle giveaway, and you'll also receive free shipping. Do you have troubled skin, acne? Well, we have great news. With Proactive, your acne can heal, and you can prevent new breakouts from happening. We're going to let 1 million people try Proactive risk-free, get 2 free gifts, and free shipping when you call right now. You heard it. This offer won't last long. Visit getproactive.com or call 1-800-614-4102. That's 1-800-614-4102.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-326-2414. 1-800-326-2414. That's 1-800-326-2414. 1-800-326-2414.
Monday, January 21st is more than Dr. King's Day. It's Inauguration Day as our nation's 44th president, Barack Obama, is sworn in for a second term. It's a cause for celebration, and in 2013, WVON is your celebration station. Join us for Chicago's premier inauguration party at the Grand Ballroom, 6351 South Cottage Grove Avenue. We'll have live entertainment, live coverage of the inaugural festivities in Washington, D.C., great food, and, of course, great friends. That's where you come in. There'll be a cash bar and plenty of parking. Tickets are $30 at the door. Join us as we celebrate the second inauguration of President Barack Obama. Monday, January 21st. The doors open at 6 p.m. That's history at the station that's celebrating turning 50. Your celebration station, WVON.
WVON's inauguration party is powered by Toyota. Let's go places.
Hello, this is Perry Small, and years ago I met a remarkable Chicagoan. His name is Reverend Dr. Oscar Walden. He wants to thank the WVON family for years of support. Years ago, Walden was pulled off a Roseland bus by Chicago police officers, falsely accused of a brutal rape, and spent more than a decade in prison for a crime he did not commit. Today, Walden is an author and a musical genius. He is sharing his experience of triumph and tragedy through music, plays, and his work with his nonprofit organization, People's Courts of Final Appeals International. To learn more about his incredible story of tragedy and triumph, or to purchase his books, jazz, and gospel CDs, call 773-218-7330. That's 773-218-7330.
Hello, this is Dr. Oscar Walden Jr. Join WVON 1690 AM on January the 21st for their inaugural celebration for President Barack Obama at the Grand Ballroom. Come purchase my CDs and books and join in the celebration.
Hi, this is Pepper Miller, the new host of the Urban Business Roundtable. As a consumer researcher and author, I've made a career of asking the right questions to find out what people are thinking. Join me every Wednesday at 8:30 a.m., Thursday at 6:30 p.m., and Saturday mornings at 9:30 a.m. as we ask the business community's brightest about their success and how to apply their winning strategies to our businesses. The conversation begins January 9th on The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON. You're listening to Salim MuWakkil on Chicago's true urban legend, The Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. It is 9:08. Salim MuWakkil here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690. Afro Blue, you know, that's Coltrane's rendition, and I couldn't help but be struck by Brother Oscar Walden's music. Man, he crafts some amazing tunes. He really does, you know. His harmonies are very sophisticated. And it's really, you know, he deserves a lot more recognition for that orchestral style that he has. Okay, let's go back to the phones. Let's see. Rose. Hey, Rose, how are you?
I'm doing great, Salim. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You and
thank
my
you.
son share the same day of birthday.
Is that right? Oh, wow. He's a Cuspian as well, huh?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yes, he is. Listen, I was listening to you earlier, and Thaddeus was on the phone. And I hear you haven't talked to Larry yet. He hasn't gotten back to you.
Mm-mm.
But Thaddeus said that he records the program.
Studious,
And I just wanted to let him know that Larry called in on January the 7th of 2012. 2012. I'm sorry. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he called in January the 7th, 2012, and propositioned you on the $500 that time.
Okay, yes. Studio says he has the recording, and he sent it to me. He emailed it to me. I have to check it out.
Oh, okay. Oh, so he knows what day it was.
Yes.
I thought he didn't know which day it was.
No, he said he found it. He found it.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. And then Larry acknowledged it himself.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I know you're saying something about 80% as if he wasn't sure.
Yes, that's right. Uh-huh. Yes.
Since Thaddeus said he tapes every week, I said, okay, I got the date. No
Yeah.
problem with that.
All right,
To
good.
clarify things. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good.
But that's all I wanted.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Happy birthday again.
Thank you, Rose. Appreciate that. Hey, I have people who are chronicling this show assiduously. I feel responsible now. Let's go to Marie. Hey, Marie, how are you?
Hi, Salim. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Oh, I just wanted to hear you say I am doing well. Were you able to look at C-SPAN on Thursday with Dr. Cornel West and Mr. Smiley and Newt Gingrich?
I didn't see it Thursday, but I heard they had an excerpt today on WVON that they played.
I used to be a great follower of Dr. Cornel West.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, and I want your comment.
Okay.
Once he teamed up with Mr. Smiley, they seem to have a personal dislike for President Obama. And for them to be having a discussion on poverty with Newt Gingrich was just a bit much for me. Can you give me some analytical reasoning behind that?
I am at a loss to justify it. I heard that today. As a matter of fact, I heard this guy talking. I said that sounds like Gingrich, because someone had referred to Gingrich a little earlier in the conversation I heard today, and it was they referred to him disparagingly. So I thought that they were doing it as usual from afar, because he doesn't normally put himself in the proximity where he can be directly confronted. But he was there, and I heard him speak. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I know that I hope that they're not using the enemy of my enemy, that kind of thing.
That's what I actually think they're doing
Mm-hmm.
on the eve of, or, a few days before the inaugural and the celebration of Dr. King. I can't go for that. I just can't.
But Marie, I think you're on to something. I too have great respect for Dr. Cornel West, for his intellect, his range of interest, and his erudition. And so I'm often disappointed by the way he seems to be much more prosaic, because that may be because of Tavis's influence. I'm not sure. I think you're on to something there.
And then the way he went on his diatribe about the president going to use the late Dr. Martin Luther King's Bible, that was a bit much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I agree with some of his critiques of the president, but I think that they have a chip. Both of them have a chip on their shoulders now, because they've received so much resistance to that critique. Which I think is also unfair, but. I think that because of that critique, they have, hunched their back up in a way that is unflattering to both of them.
Yes, that is correct. Okay, have a happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you,
and
Marie.
May you be blessed.
Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see who's next. Kay. Hey, Kay. How are you?
Hi.
How you doing?
Happy birthday. Didn't know it was your birthday.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Kay.
Well, I wish you many, many more.
I appreciate
if the
that.
Creator's perfect will is in it,
yes.
You will continue to enlighten us.
Thank you.
There's two things I wanted to comment on.
Okay.
And there's maybe, I don't know if you noticed it, but do you notice that whenever France does something, it's like the U.S. somehow has to carry them? it's like they mess up and they're not able to sustain it, and then the U.S. has to carry it. And the examples I'm using is Vietnam, and that was not good for the U.S. It's like the Libya thing. France is broke, and it's a third world country, and then the U.S. has to carry them. And now they're in Algeria. It's like whenever France does so, or even the Haitian rebellion, you know? And then it was like in the Haiti had to pay all that reparations, and then the U.S. had to come in there like in the early 1900s. Why is it that the U.S. always has to carry France?
That's a good question, Kay. I think the U.S. has been the second act of French imperialism. Indeed, that has often been the case. Francophone Africa has been the place where a lot of U.S. Interference has followed as well. As you point out, most of the French colonized countries, but also the British colonized countries in Africa as well. So U.S. has tried to get in on everything.
But they're not carrying them. I mean, Vietnam was not good for the U.S.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't good for the U.S. But the U.S. has come on the heels of Britain as well in some places. That whole Indian subcontinent, Pakistan and whatnot. That was the British who gave us that. So
and then But when you mentioned the British, they had their last heyday was when the Boer War. Pretty much after that, they started going down. Don't you think?
Well, the people in Argentina would beg to differ. They still want the Falkland Islands.
Yeah.
So the British are still doing their little thing here and there. But yeah, I hear you. I hear you about France. That is a significant pattern that we seem to be fallen into. Certainly in Libya, it was the French who led that NATO assault.
Yeah. And that didn't work out for the U.S.
Not at all. In fact, it was that precipitated this current conflict.
Yeah, so I think they need to drop France because no good is coming out of this relationship.
Well, you don't think France is doing the right thing now?
I think, to be totally honest with you, again, maybe I sound like a conspiracy nut, what I'm going to say. So I'm just saying that up front because what I'm about to say is kind of out of left field. I think France is, it's pretty much a third world country, except that they've got all this military might. And so to have some sort of, I don't know, respectability, they need wars. I don't believe Al-Qaeda, a lot of people say that Al-Qaeda is a CIA thing, and maybe they deliberately play are in Algeria, like they did that so that France could have some excuse. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That's a very common conspiracy theory out there.
because
it not only is it common, but it makes sense. The U.S. had a very, very extensive counterinsurgency effort going on in northern Mali for many years. Many years. Much money has gone into that. And so a lot of people are asking, what happened to that money? What happened to that effort? Maybe that effort was, in fact, to arrange this constellation of Islamist groups to invade and subvert the area.
And to justify all
and to
that.
justify AFRICOM, for example.
Right. And then my final comment is the Django thing. Yeah, I just truly believe black people need to stop. You should create, instead of, like how the Indians created Bollywood, black people should, black Americans anyway, should create, I don't know.
They tried. As a brother pointed out earlier, Michelle, a man named Will Smith.
And I appreciate it, but I was talking about there's a lot more black filmmakers now because it just seems like whenever black people have to go to Hollywood, and I apologize for saying what I'm about to say, 'cause I know it sounds not nice, but it's like you have to go to the the Jewish people. And it just seems like when you have to go to the Jewish people, you have to include some kind of homosexuality. You have to include some sort of...
You think that's true?
If you notice a lot of these films, you have to include black men being neutered in some kind of way, you know, and whether they have to wear those drag. There's a stereotype that black men always have to end up in drag.
Well, you saw. I don't know if you saw Dave Chappelle on Oprah making that particular case himself.
Right. You know, but that's what I'm saying. Black men have to be neutered in some kind of way, and if you're not in drag, there's some sort of homosexuality.
Why do you think that's the case? Tell me this, Kay. Kay.
Black men to look like.
Why do you think that's the case? You say Jewish, Hollywood. Why do you think Jewish filmmakers have? What do you think they have to gain by emasculating black men?
Well, Jews are the ones that run Hollywood. And I forgot the name of the book, but it.
No, they do, right? The Empire, Jewish, the Empire of Our Fathers by.
See, I know you know these books because we read some of the same books, and so they want to. I mean, I understand you support your own ethnic group and all that, but it comes to the blacks tend to pay a huge price for that. You know, Quentin Tarantino, when he did Pulp Fiction, it's N. It's I didn't see Django, and I probably won't see it. You know, it's N. It's always, they're black men are neutered. It's homosexual.
Well, that's why a lot of people like Django, because it kind of reverses that trend. Although it reverses it in a cartoonish way, it reverses it nonetheless. A lot of people say. Thank you for the call, Kay. Appreciate it. All right. Bye-bye. All right. Kay has some explicit ideas. A lot of people agree with her in terms of that thing about the pretext of allowing U.S. and European troops to go into Africa by creating this boogeyman of Islamists, by cultivating them. That is certainly what happened in Afghanistan, right? We created Al-Qaeda from the Mujahideen. And now and there's a lot of people who are saying that that's the same thing that happened in Mali with the Tuaregs. We're the ones who instigated the Tuaregs to want to establish the Republic of Azawad, which is what the Islamists took over. And then we had a lot of money of counterinsurgency being invested into northern Mali. What happened to that money? How come we didn't convince people that the American way of life is the best way of life? It seems that they have been instead converted to another kind of doctrine. And that justifies us sending drones over, mobilizing AFRICOM troops to get ready to go in, to join the French who are already in. A reinvasion of the African continent, some say, is what is happening. But if it were not for the French, who would oust these guys who are tearing up Timbuktu, who are disparaging our ancestral heritage? Who would help? So that's the dilemma, right? Back to the phones we go. Brother Dwight. Hey, Dwight. Hey, man. How are you, sir?
I'm well. Thank you, Hotep.
Hotep.
Condolences to the brother who lost his mother.
Brother Maurice.
Brother Tony Martin. That's a great loss as well.
Absolutely right.
The book the sister was referencing was An Empire of Our Own.
An Empire of Our Own.
By Neil Gabler.
That's exactly it. An Empire of Our Own.
If I could address Jimmy Walker's girlfriend, whatever, Ann Coulter, and use her to segue into my comments on Django. That's what I'm attempting to do. But Dr. Amos Wilson said that, the name of one of my favorite books of his is Black on Black Violence, The Psychodynamics of Black Self-Annihilation in Service of White Domination. So these little guys, stand on the corner shooting each other up, that don't serve us. It don't serve their game. It serves, enables white domination. It justifies increased police presence, by the way, which Barack Bush and what's his vice president, they're trying to put more
Biden.
Police. Yeah, trying to put more police. But I digress. But these little guys on the corner, they're serving white supremacy by enabling them to justify more prisons, more police, more judges, and white folks get paid making the food to feed the prisoners, and on and on and on. So Ann Coulter, that goes to the ledger, goes on the ledger on the side of white folks, the black on black violence. And then Django, I have a great dislike. I would even take it to the level of hatred for Dick Gregory. I have no respect whatsoever, which, I've stated the reasons for.
Right, I remember before you made that clear.
He has taken money from the Jews for the specific purpose of undermining the freedom struggle of black people in Cincinnati, Ohio. And, he has called me the nig word hundreds of times, along with other black victims of police brutality and economic apartheid and whatnot in Cincinnati. The father of one of the young men that the police beat him and choked him to death. And then when some more officers arrived who didn't get in on the action, they pulled his body out of the car and beat him and choked him some more, but he wasn't moving. So they say something's wrong, so they checked his vitals. They beating on the boy's dead body. And the father of this young man, Dick Gregory, stood up there and called us hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of niggas. See, so because we confronted him about taking money from the Jews, and he didn't admit it, but what's them guys' name? The OJs. We ticketed them for being at the meeting getting paid, and one of the OJs came out of the theater and said, "Why y'all picking us? Because y'all took the money from the Jews." That was Frank. That was one of their boys. So he was the manager of Laverne, or the OJs.
But Dwight. Now, see, I hear you, man. But this is your perspective, right? Now,
it ain't my perspective.
Well, I mean, if you're saying that Dick Gregory took money from the Jews, that's why it's hard for me to think of Dick Gregory justifying some white cats beating up a brother. And I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I don't. It's just hard for me to. And I know you may have some personal gripe with Dick Gregory, but that again is your personal gripe. And so I'm giving.
My gripe is that he took the money. Before that, I mean, I don't do too much comedy and all of that. But my gripe is because he did that, and he got caught along with Bev Smith, the OJs, the Isley brothers. Man, I got a whole list of them who came here, and they proved that they took the money by their actions when they came here. As a matter of fact, one of the promoters of a different show told me that the Isley brothers was not going to cancel their show because they already got paid 3 times their regular amount of money. This was the father of the promoter, and this is when I'm working on trying to find out, well, who is paying all these people? Look, I found out the guy. Look, when they told me that Dick Gregory was going to be with this Jewish guy when he came to Cincinnati, he came out with the Jewish. The Jewish guy came out 1 minute before Dick Gregory. And I taped the, I had a Steve Coakley video team with me. We taped the white guy, and then I shot this photograph around town. Who is this? When I found out who he was, oh man, this is a fascinating story. I ain't got time to go into it all of it. But I eventually confronted the guy. He denied it. We went together to his synagogue so that his rabbi could prove that it wasn't this Jew, it was some other Jews. He named the other Jews who done it, but but I digress. Let me get to a little analysis on Django.
Okay.
I went and watched Inglourious Basterds by way of increasing my knowledge of Tarantino's work. And you could see a lot of Django in Inglourious Basterds. You could see the Jews going to hunt down the Nazis and kill up a bunch of Nazis, and compare that with the ex-slaves going against the slaveholders.
Revenge.
That the acting in Inglourious Basterds it had some real bad, intentional bad spots. What's got Brad Pitt with his Southern American slang, the Italian, that was intentionally horrible. But the bad acting in Django, I think it was just, it was just bad on purpose. But I think that the movie, somebody talked about the phrenology segment. Well, right there, the point was that we had. Let me give you a John Henry Clark paraphrase. He said that Hollywood never made one frame of film for entertainment, and that it was all propaganda. So when the guy is got the skull and talked about phrenology, the point he's making is that the slave who was shaving his father never slit his throat, and should have, if it was us, he would have slit his throat. And the whole genre of movies, King Kong, Planet of the Apes, I mentioned the one movie the other week, White Man's Burden. This is a genre of movies where the shoe is on the other foot. The message for the white person is, we must never let these Negroes get back on top, or else this is what they'll do to us. And, Django Unchained is the epitome.
Is in that line? Okay, well.
Oh, it's the epitome.
Well, in some ways, that's kind of what Minister Farrakhan was saying as well. He was making that very same point.
Correct.
All right, thank you, man. Appreciate it, Dwight.
All right,
Hotep. Yes, Minister Farrakhan said it seemed to be setting the stage for some sense of racial warfare and letting white people know that you don't let black people get justice, because justice means that you suffer karma. Or who said this? The sister, man, I can't think of it. The comedian who sounds like Patty. She has a skit in which she said people say reverse racism. Reverse racism is better called karma. That's where she is coming from. That sounds a little bit about what Dwight was talking about. Let's go to John. Hey, John. Good evening. How are you, sir?
You weren't talking about Wanda Sykes, were you?
Wanda Sykes, exactly.
Okay. It doesn't sound like Patty. Yeah, okay, let me move on.
Wanda Sykes sounds like Patty, doesn't she?
Yeah, I guess.
Their voices sound very similar.
Yes, sir. Salim, the Salim MuWakkil show.
Yes, sir.
It's more so about the philosophy and opinions of the callers than yours. And, brother, you have no easy task. It's steady work trying to keep all these phone callers in line, make it become coherent and entertaining. That ain't easy. So to call and try to criticize you, I'm like, you're defeating the purpose of the show. Man, what are they talking about? Man, Salim, hope you don't change your format because of that guy. Anyway, Dick Gregory, right? Dick Gregory said he saw Django 12 times, right?
Yes.
How many times has Dick Gregory seen the latest Jonestown documentary? I'm just going to throw out some questions
because he was close to Reverend, right? Jim Jones.
Okay. So I ain't throwing out. Just know his right hand man is Mark Lane.
That's right.
Who was Jim Jones' attorney?
That's right.
Mark Lane. Mark Lane was there in Jonestown when they drank the cyanide when they attacked the entourage of the congressman. And I've never heard, Dick Gregory talk about everything under the sun, every tragic event last 50 years. They don't talk about Jonestown.
You got a point, man. You got a good point, brother.
About the Kool-Aid. But but don't get me wrong now. I don't hold it against.
You know who else? And I even sometimes hate to bring this up, man, but I think to be candid about it, we have to bring it up. W.D. Muhammad, in fact, found Reverend Jones attractive in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
A lot of people, but see, a lot of people found Jim Jones an attractive cat because he was attentive to the excesses of racism. He spoke out against them often, and he was trying to bring religion into a kind of multicultural perspective, which was an admirable thing.
Okay.
Wouldn't you say?
No. Okay.
Okay.
I don't want to get. No, I don't. I don't even want to try to delve into that one. So
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there, brother. And
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate your coming back. I said that's this part of your show is to make it entertaining, and I accept what you just said. But I can't no further than that. Hey, I like Wes, the caller, but he said something, and I got to respond to this. He was talking about Spike Lee's "She's Gotta Have It" with Nola Darling. And he said that, Big Greg was upset because Spike disrespected our women. I take issue with that our women thing. I wish he would have expounded on what he means by that, because I don't lay no claim to Nola Darling on screen. Just like I don't lay no claim to the Letitia in Monsters Ball, or going back to the 20s with Josephine Baker, in a banana skirt, nude in a chateau in Paris. That's not. I don't claim them. I don't own them. It's our women. They do what they want to do.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about racial allegiance, right? Of course, right?
I don't pick on no racial allegiance. Come on, that's our problem. Okay. This whole black thing. Everybody can lay claim to black. Everybody. And it gets to a point where it has no meaning. But everybody can say they black and feel whatever way they want to feel. But that don't mean I lay claim if somebody does something embarrassing that looks bad on me, or I got to get the guy who exploited my sisters. No, it's just me. I don't see it like that. I can't lay claim to that like that, because I don't know Nola Darling. I don't know Halle Berry, and they don't know me. So I can't. Whatever they do in Hollywood, it's what they do, and they should be.
So tell me, do you think that Hollywood is this propaganda machine that offers nothing positive or palliative for African Americans?
That may be the case, but they ain't stopping bucket loads of African Americans running to Hollywood trying to get on those screens, getting that big screen. We ain't no shortage of that. Okay, so you know the game. And most people will tell you who want to be actors, who want to make the money, you better grow up. So, because meaning they're going to put you in some very precarious, compromising, forever positions.
Yeah, Hollywood shuffle.
Exactly. So, and let me end with this. I want to make this one last point, Salim, and I thank you for taking my call. I hear black folk, which of course makes no sense to me, but we do it anyway. I can't help it. We go back to Roosevelt, and they bring up the example of when Asa Hilliard,
Philip Randolph
met with FDR, and FDR said, "Make us do it." Make me do it. I'm like, well, okay. So fast forward to 2013 or 2012. What do you think Cornel West and Tavis Smiley are trying to do with President Obama?
Make him do it.
And we come out and we criticize them because they too heavy on the brother. And the President of the United States. I hear people say Barack Obama and the powers that be. Are you kidding me? He is the power that be.
That's right.
He's running the show.
That's right.
So we better get out of this. Brother. I like Barack. You know I like him? Because he's a man of his word. And he ain't, like I said, he never has given black folk or poor people his word on nothing. Okay? And I got to respect him for that. But that doesn't mean that Cornel and Tavis can't criticize him or hold him accountable and try to push him and make him do it. Because Al Sharpton not going to do it. But I don't blame Al for that, because Al in the loop. He got an offer he couldn't refuse, and that's how it is. But you can't criticize Cornel West. I know I heard Cornel on the WVON, and it seemed as if he put WVON in a sort of compromising position with his critique of the President Obama, which is what he's supposed to do.
Yes, sir.
If he's an intellectual scholar, that's what they're supposed to do.
That's true. All right, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it. Yes, indeed. Let's go to Brother James. Hey, man.
Good evening.
Good evening. How you doing, brother?
The slave would not slit the father's throat because they raised the slave to be what they wanted him to be. And if the slave were to slit the father's throat, then the slave would have gone outside of his teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And the slave was chosen as a good slave, and he was taught well.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I don't know too much about Africa. I don't know what's going over there. But this is what I do know. I know the players of the past. I know they are still there, and they're still raising chaos. And when anybody who knew over there is going against the players of the past, I have to go with the new player. Because the players of the past have shown what they care about Africa and what they have planned for Africa. And that's how I do my judgment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm against the U.S. in Africa. I'm against France. I'm against all the imperialists. And somebody come tell me, oh, these Al-Qaeda, they doing this and that. I don't know what they doing. But what you doing and what you done did. And that's what I base mine on. Now, did you see the movie Tarantino did in Glorious Bastards?
Yes.
Okay. Did he use the K word in there?
Kike?
Yeah.
I think once or twice.
Once or twice. I didn't hear it. I may have seen it just in passing, but I didn't hear the K word used at all. I don't know what Spike Lee said about Birth of a Nation 2013, but I'll admire Spike Lee wisdom and courage for commenting and saying it, whatever it was. And to me, he is a hero, and it took a lot of courage to do it. Now, comparing, yes, sir?
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay, comparing Barack Bush with Dr. King is the ultimate disrespect that you can put on Dr. King. It makes you want to cry.
Okay, man.
Comparing, I mean, he's a war criminal. In international law, he's a war criminal.
You got a point there, my brother.
Yeah, so how you going to compare a war criminal with a man of peace and who is against war?
Absolutely against war.
Yeah, and then you're going to compare him in the same breath like this is where Dr. King was heading. I mean, it fills me with great sadness. And it seems like the powerful media and all of them, on all sides, they just overwhelming the people and keep spewing that garbage, comparing him with Dr. King.
Yes, sir.
Now, brother, when I mention some of the racial assassinations that's going on now in this country, like Trayvon, the shooting in Cleveland, just all over, and you say to me that it is some African Americans in North Carolina that is doing great. And I keep trying to figure out what's their connection with political.
I didn't say North Carolina. I said Prince George's County, which is Maryland, actually.
Oh, okay, okay. So what's the connection with some African Americans doing good in Prince, Maryland? What's those connections with political assassinations that's being done to black people across this country that I calls out?
Well, the point I'm making, James, is that you are presenting this image of black people as being beleaguered and under constant assault in this country, and there's no refuge, and we are, under the boot of the white man who's going to wipe us out continuously. And the point that I'm making is that there are several black communities, man, in which people are not living under threat, under the boot of the white man. They are doing quite well, thank you. And in fact, compared to many other white communities, they are doing better in terms of economic sustenance and whatnot. That's only the point I'm making.
But brother, I mentioned to you specifically, I think a racist assassination, like a Trayvon, like the Boston killers. I ain't gonna go through some of all these shootings, but I'm saying these are racist assassinations. And what would they have to do with? I always seen black people doing good. A lot of people never.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. The black people are doing good just as well as some people are not doing good. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, I just didn't see the comparison.
Well, it's an easy comparison, brother. If you present a scenario of black people under constant threat and under assault,
but I mentioned to you the assassinations that's been done.
No, but that's not what I'm talking. Of course, there's always. There's white supremacy, man. We live in a white supremacist culture, and white people are always quick to prejudice black people as being up to no no good. That's I don't disagree with that. But my point is that there are black communities in which people are not doing badly.
Okay, I understand that, but I don't see the connection. Let me move on.
Go ahead, man.
Genocide. Most of us know what genocide is.
Yes, sir.
Genocide come in all forms and fashions, that I have seen.
Mm-hmm.
When you bring people here as slaves, treat them less than an animal, take their language, their culture, their woman, their manhood, everything from them. That's genocide. When you oppress people.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so what?
Well, that's one genocide.
Mm-hmm.
When you oppress people and make laws against them, take all their inventions, burn their town.
Yes, sir. I got you. I'm trying to accelerate the conversation a little bit, James.
Okay. What I'm saying, some people think genocide got to be they just swoop in, kill all black people at once.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying eventually it's going.
Oh, okay. There's a gradual kind of genocide, incremental genocide. Yes, sir.
We already been on the incremental genocide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it's going to boil over until mass genocide.
All right.
But we are under genocide since we've been here.
Yes, sir.
Would you agree?
Not exactly, because our population has actually increased. So by definition, it's not genocide.
I wouldn't say our population increased. It increased when they had a need for us.
All right, man.
Now they
thank
don't
you.
have a need.
All right, James. Thank you, brother.
Okay,
Appreciate
brother.
it.
Straight ahead.
Let's go to Sel. Is this Sel?
Yes, it is.
Hey, man. How are you, my brother?
Thank you. Happy New Year's to you.
Happy New Year to you, brother.
And happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
I was excited about the fact that we're celebrating King's birthday as well as celebrating the inauguration. But knowing that we're also celebrating your birthday has taken it to another level.
Okay.
I would like to express my appreciation, profound appreciation, for WVON participating in pulling together a King celebration at the Chase Bank building this week. Our star, Miss Melanie Spann Cooper, served as a moderator, and there was a panel there that was second to none. And I appreciate that.
Okay.
Had an opportunity to reacquaint myself with a friend, attorney William Cowell of Chase Bank. I met him while participating in the Real Man Read program at Herzl Elementary School before Dr. Betty Allen Green retired.
Mm-hmm.
You referred to Django as being a cartoon, and that's how I have referred to it as being. When I saw the artwork of Nefertiti, I said, what type of joke is this? I'm not familiar with the artist who produced this.
Tarantino?
Yeah, I'm not that much of a movie buff, but I just thought it was a joke. I mean, just a joke. But I spent my time watching the audience,
interesting.
trying to evaluate our response to this garbage.
Was it mostly black audience?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. The only benefit that
I'd like to see how white audiences respond to it,
The benefit that I got out of it was that I didn't buy any popcorn, so I wasn't mad about that I spent all that money on a joke. And I'll admit that I took a water bottle and I poured some Ryan wine in it, and I sat there drinking my wine. I'm going to take advantage of the creative liberty that WVON extends to the callers and tell you about a dream that I had.
Quickly, Sal. I'm trying to get these other folks
It was
on.
with Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
He came in and he immediately acknowledged me as being the best street sweeper in Chicago. I thanked him. And I asked him, where did you want to go? He said, take me to the west side. So I took him over to North Lawndale. And he said, my. What has happened beyond the riots? What has happened? And when I told him how much money had been spent on rehabbing residential units over there, and they were torn up, rehabbed again, torn up, rehabbed again, he said, Sal, you're right. It's not the brick and mortar. It's the changing of the mindset and the high tolerance that we have for filth
Yes, sir.
He said, Phil, I wasn't just talking about the promised land being jobs, education, social equities. He said the promised land is a clean community.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, thank you, Dr. King.
So you got reinforcement for your mission. Huh?
Absolutely, Doctor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. Look
Appreciate it,
forward to
bro.
seeing you someday.
Yes, sir, sir.
Bye now.
All right. Hey, Brother Sel. Dr. King is giving you an endorsement, my brother. Keep it going. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
How you doing this evening?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right.
Yeah, I want to make a comment about the black on black crime, about the lady that you said about the crime about is mostly black. But I'm kind of confused about
And Colton.
Okay, now when blacks criticize the president, and you got some blacks come to his aid, even important blacks, and say, "Hey, he the president of all people." Okay, that's cool. So now, wasn't a whole lot of black kids being killed before this Newtown thing?
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out who he's the president of. Because if he could speak for them and he could run gun legislation for them, then he could have did it for other. I'm not just going to say children, like for black on black crime. Period. But see, that's what I'm confused at. Who is the president of? Just them people, or it's only said when we criticize him, and then that's the juvenile response that we get back to protect him by saying he's the president of all people. So. Isn't that wrong? I mean, I'm not downplaying the Newtown thing, but I'm just saying.
Well, it's political calculus that he's assessing here. What is the political calculus of responding to Newtown versus the political calculus of responding to a chronic violent crime in the black community? And I think, once you assess it that way, you can understand why the president is doing what he's doing. You may not agree, but you can certainly understand according to his own political calculus. And the criticism is that, he's using the wrong political calculus, or he should insert his own individual or racial consciousness into that political calculus to change it a bit, to be more concerned with what's going on in the black community. And you can make that argument, but, that's an argument.
Right. All right, you have a good one, then.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it, brother. Let's go to Andre. Andre. Hey, brother.
Salim, how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'd just like to grant you a happy birthday as well.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it, man.
I didn't know it was your birthday, so happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Salim, I want to clear up something from last. I got several things I want to discuss with you, but I want to clear up something from last week.
Okay.
When I called you last week, we had a discussion, and I said that blacks were 14% of the population, and you corrected me and let me know it was 13% of the population, and that I said that we won't be able to shape policy in this country because we're not strong enough in numbers. But then the lady K called and said, well, Jews only 2%. Now, what she meant by that, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure you know what I meant by my statement, saying that even though we are 13% of Jews, 2% Jews have far more resources than we do to determine their destiny. We don't have those type of resources.
I know, but I think her point was that just because sheer numbers are not alone determinative.
And I tell her it is. Because, we see what our president is experiencing down there now, which 90% of the things is based on his skin color. So that I just want to say that.
But see, that's again, that is your opinion on. There's no way to quantify exactly how much is dependent on his skin color or not. It's all your own estimation on that, right?
Okay, I'll accept that. Now, I seen Django, and nobody can depict black people the way they have been depicting themselves. Some of the callers call here, and I understand what they're saying, but why call this man Barack O. Bush? Do they realize what Bush did and the family he come from?
I don't see why they do it either. But that's to me it seems a little juvenile. In fact, every time they do it,
Every time they do it, I think it says more about them, and I think they realize it as they think about it. It says more about them than it does about anything else. Go ahead.
Right. And I tell you what I gathered from Django there, Salim.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I realized in that movie? That practically a lot of evil that black folks experienced out here was taught to them by a white man.
Mm-hmm.
See, this white man taught in the movie taught Django how to shoot, taught him how to go bounty hunt and kill. He turned him into a killer. See, so why the African Americans didn't get that from the movie, I don't know.
Okay, bro. All right, thank you, Andre.
It was a love story.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
What did you say, Salim?
That was one of the stories. Yes, sir. It was that. Thank you. That's the thing about art, you know. It allows for multiple interpretations, man. You can see a lot of people saw that movie and they will come out with completely varying perspectives on what it was all about. Let's go to JJ. Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on, Salim?
I'm all right, brother. How are you?
First, I want to say happy birthday.
Thank you.
You know, many more. My comment was just the fact of the matter that the earlier caller was talking about the K word.
Yes.
And I kind of, you know, your listeners should kind of like look around. I've never heard it. I didn't hear it in that movie. I don't know.
And Inglourious Bastards?
Right. I didn't hear it there. Now,
okay.
you know, they have no problem saying...
okay,
saying the N-word. They ain't got no problem saying that in the records or anything else, but you know it's not going to appear in the record. And I'm trying to sit up here thinking, when have I ever heard it in film or in any real historical significant element depicting the Holocaust or anything else? It's kind of like with us, we have to use shock therapy. We have to go to the extremes. We have to kind of degrade to tell a story, but at the same point in time, the story can be told. If you remember that movie, in the fear element where that couple was worried about being discovered. See, so many things can be done without having to be very graphic. So that's just my call, man. I just want to say happy birthday to you.
All right, thank you, JJ. Appreciate it, bro. You know, I like to say, you know, there's a difference between these other pejorative names and nigger, because that was the actual way that they referred to a commodity. These other folks had, you know, pejorative names given by enemies, by ethnic enemies, or a kind of playful appellations. But for us, nigga had a different kind of connotation, and so that's why I think it's a bit distinctive. Let's go to Michelle. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Salim. Happy Capricorn birthday, brother.
Actually, Cuspian. I'm on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius.
How about that?
Check that.
Check that out. Well, I give you and Mansong and all the other Caps my congratulations. You made it.
Thank you. You're right about that. It's amazing.
Another year. Listen, Salim, I haven't heard all of your show tonight, but the brother that was on before James caught my attention, and I got pulled back in, and I picked up the phone to comment. He was talking about the different movie star type images of black women, and that those are not real. And I agree with that brother 100%. I'm a black woman, and I'm proud to be black.
Go ahead.
And I'm proud to be totally different from anything Hollywood couldn't imagine. And their imagination is, I hate to call it an insult, but it's just immature. I mean, they're still babies. And what the problem with it is, Salim, they become rich off of their filth. They're lusting after us. They're using our images to capitalize. We've made them rich. The 2% of them with the media, okay? And so, Salim, being a black woman, I have to say that none of their images seem to fit. They didn't even get it right before they were even born again in the Bible. They didn't even get it right then when they switched it all up. So, you know what?